afternoon, everyone. It is 2:30 p.m. by the clock now, and the quorum being present, I call the meeting to order. This is my first annual general meeting as the chairman of this esteemed organization, and it gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to the 89th annual general meeting of the company. I hope all our shareholders and their family are safe and in good health. In view of the continuing social distancing norms due to COVID-19, this AGM is being conducted through audio-video means. This meeting has been convened and is being conducted in accordance with the circulars issued by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, the Securities Exchange Board of India, and other applicable circulars issued in this regard, which allows the companies to conduct their AGM through video conferencing or other audio-visual means during the calendar year 2022. Your company has taken all steps to ensure that the shareholders are able to attend and vote at this AGM in a seamless manner. Your company has tied up with the National Securities Depositories Limited, herein referred to as NSDL, to provide facility for voting through remote e-voting, for participation in the AGM through video conferencing facility, and e-voting during the AGM. Members who need any assistance during the AGM with regard to the use of technology or otherwise can contact the helpline numbers mentioned at page 306 of the Integrated Annual Report. I'm pleased to inform you that your company has provided the facility of a live webcast of the proceedings of this AGM. The AGM can therefore be viewed live by the members from remote locations by logging on to the e-voting website of NSDL. I have joined this meeting from the registered office of the company in Mumbai. I will now request the members of the board who have joined the meeting to introduce themselves. Starting with my extreme right, Ms. Ashu Suyash.
Good afternoon, shareholders. I'm Ashu Suyash, Independent Director of the company.
The Board of Directors had appointed Ms. Ashu Suyash as an additional director for a period of 5 years with effect from 12th of November 21 to 11th of November 2026. The appointment of Ms. Ashu Suyash as an independent director of the company was also approved by the members through postal ballot by means of a special resolution. On behalf of the Board of Directors and shareholders, I welcome Ms. Ashu Suyash to our first AGM of the company as an independent director. Ms. Suyash comes with over 33 years of experience in the financial services and global information services sector. She was until recently the Chief Executive Officer and Managing Director at CRISIL and a member of the Operating Committee of S&P Global. She serves on the advisory boards and committees of several institutions like the Securities and Exchange Board of India, Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India, the National Institute of Securities and Markets. Ms. Suyash has also worked with reputed financial organizations, L&T Financial Services Group, Fidelity International, and Citibank. Next to her is Mr. O.P. Bhatt.
Good afternoon, shareholders. I'm O.P. Bhatt, an independent director of your company. I am also the chairman of the Stakeholders Relationship Committee and the Corporate Social Responsibility Committee. Have a great day.
Next to him is Mr. Dev Bajpai.
Good afternoon, shareholders. I am Dev Bajpai, Executive Director, Legal and Corporate Affairs and Company Secretary of your company. I am also a member of the board and the management committee of the company.
Now turning on my extreme left, Ms. Kalpana Morparia.
Good afternoon, shareholders. I'm Kalpana Morparia, an independent director of your company. I also chair the audit committee of your company.
Next to her is Mr. Wilhelmus Uyen.
Good afternoon, shareholders. I'm Wilhelmus Uyen, Executive Director Supply Chain of your company, and I'm also a member of the board and the management committee of your company.
Mr. Sanjeev Mehta.
Namaskar, shareholders. I am Sanjeev Mehta, joining this meeting from Mumbai. I'm Chief Executive Officer and Managing Director of the company. I also chair the Risk Management Committee of your company.
On behalf of the Board of Directors and the shareholders of this company, I'd like to express our deep sense of appreciation and gratitude to Mr. Sanjeev Mehta for his immense contribution as Chairman of the Board and the manner in which he has led the Board and the company. Dr. Sanjeev Mishra.
Good afternoon, shareholders. I am Sanjeev Mishra. I am an independent director on the board of your company. I also chair the Nomination and Remuneration Committee of your company. I am joining this meeting virtually through virtual means from Noida.
Dr. Ashish Gupta.
Good afternoon, shareholders. I am Dr. Ashish Gupta, independent director of your company, joining the meeting from the United States.
Mr. Leo Puri, independent director of your company, has expressed his inability to attend the AGM due to pre-commitments. With your permission, leave of absence is granted to Mr. Puri. Mr. Ritesh Tiwari, executive director finance and IT, and the Chief Financial Officer of your company, has taken ill and is unable to join this meeting either in person or remotely. Given these circumstances, and with your permission, leave of absence is granted to Mr. Tiwari. Please join me in wishing him a speedy recovery. I would also like to inform the shareholders that Mr. Anirudh Godbole, audit partner of Messrs. BSR and Company LLP, who has signed this year's auditor's report and annual accounts, Mr. S.N. Ananta Subramaniam of Messrs. S.N. Ananta Subramaniam and Company, the secretarial auditors of the company, and Mr. Sanjay Butch, partner of Messrs. Crawford Bailey and Company, solicitors of your company, have also joined this meeting through video conferencing. I welcome them all to this AGM. I've also been joined in this meeting by members of the management committee of this company. Mr. Srinandan Sundaram, the Executive Director for Foods and Refreshment, Ms. Anuradha Razdan, Executive Director for Human Resources, Dr. Vibhav Sansgiri, Executive Director, Research and Development, Mr. Kedar Lele, Executive Director, Customer Development, and Madhusudan Rao, Executive Director, Beauty and Personal Care. I welcome them all to this AGM. Ms. Priya Nair, Executive Director, Beauty and Personal Care, was appointed as the Chief Marketing Officer, Beauty and Wellbeing at Unilever. I'd like to thank Priya for her immense contribution over the number of years in different roles to the company and wish her success in the future. Mr. Madhusudan Rao has succeeded Priya as the Executive Director, Beauty and Personal Care with effect from 1st of April 2022. As you're aware, Ms. Prabha Narasimhan, Executive Director, Home Care, has left the company to pursue an external opportunity. I would like to thank Prabha for her contribution to the company over several years in different roles and wish her success as well. Mr. Deepak Subramaniam will succeed Prabha as the Executive Director, Home Care with effect from 1st of July 2022. I will now proceed with the agenda of the meeting. The notice convening the meeting, the report of directors, the report of the Board of Directors and the financial statements for the financial year ending 31st March 2022 were circulated to all the members in compliance with the relevant circulars of the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, and I take them as read. Since this AGM is conducted through audio-visual means, the requirement for appointment of proxy and related compliances are not applicable. The company has received 7 representations under Section 113 of the Companies Act 2013 from Unilever PLC and its affiliates, covering a total of 145 crores 44 lakhs 12,858 shares. As required under the Companies Act 2013, the Registrar of Authorized Representatives, the Register of Directors, and the key managerial personnel and the shareholding, along with the Register of Contracts or arrangements in which the directors are interested, a certificate from the Secretarial Auditor of the company confirming that the employee stock option plan has been implemented in accordance with the SEBI guidelines, and the resolution passed by the members of the company in general meetings are open for inspection on the website of NSDL. The auditor's report on the annual financial statements of the company for the financial year ending 31st of March 22 does not contain any qualifications, observations, or comments on financial transactions or matters which have an adverse effect on the functioning of the company. In terms of Section 145 of the Companies Act 2013, only the qualifications, observations, or comments mentioned in the auditor's report which have an adverse effect on the functioning of the company shall be read at the general meeting. Since there are no such qualifications, observations, or comments, the auditor's report is not required to be read. The voting procedure at the AGM. Let me say a few words about that. The company has provided the facility of e-voting to the shareholders of the company to exercise their right to vote on the resolution proposed to be passed at the AGM. I will now request Mr. Dev Bajpai to brief you on the e-voting process.
Thank you, Chairman. As per the provisions of the Companies Act 2013 and the Securities and Exchange Board of India Listing Obligation and Disclosure Requirement Regulations 2015, your company has provided the facility of remote e-voting to the members through NSDL e-voting system to enable the members to cast their vote electronically. The remote e-voting facility was open from 9 a.m. on Saturday, 18th June 2022 till 5 p.m. on Wednesday, 22nd June 2022. The detailed procedure of e-voting is also mentioned in note number 9 to the notice of the AGM on page 304 of the integrated annual report. Those members who have not cast their vote through remote e-voting process have been provided with the facility to cast their vote during the AGM using the e-voting website of NSDL. Mr. S.N. Anant Subramanian, practicing company secretary, has been appointed as the scrutinizer for the e-voting process. All shareholders who have joined the meeting are placed on mute mode by default to ensure smooth functioning and transmission of the meeting's proceedings. During the question and answer session, the chairman will announce the names of the shareholders who have registered themselves as speakers for this meeting in a sequence. The line of the respective shareholder shall be unmuted by the moderator when their name is called out by the chairman. Shareholder, while asking questions or seeking clarifications, can put their video on. In case any shareholder is facing any technical issue with the video transmission, they can raise their question through audio mode. During the meeting, if shareholders are facing other problems with the transmission, they can contact the helpline number mentioned in the notice of the meeting. I now hand over the proceedings to the chairman.
Thank you, Dev. The proceedings I'll first proceed with the AGM speech, and thereafter we will move all the resolutions as set out in the notice of the AGM, and I will then put the resolution to vote. Shareholders can vote during the course of the meeting or after the Q&A session is completed. The combined results of remote e-voting and e-voting at the venue of the meeting will be announced and made available on the website of the company, on the website of NSDL, and also on the website of the stock exchange. With your consent, I will go ahead with this flow of the AGM proceedings and start with my speech. As is customary at our AGM, I will first like to share with you my views on the subject that I believe is most relevant in the current environment for your company. I have chosen the topic, Serving India Today and Tomorrow, and the same is available at the website of the company and on the website of NSDL. I will now read excerpts from this. 1987. It was a momentous year for me as I joined Hindustan Unilever Limited as a management trainee. Today, I have the honor and privilege to chair the board, and I feel the same excitement and pride that I felt as I started my career nearly 4 decades ago. Over the decades, the business has continued to evolve and remained relevant to the changing times. However, what has remained constant are its values. It is here that I've learned that business must always have a purpose beyond profits, and that doing well by doing good is the only way to sustainable progress. And this brings me to the topic of my first AGM speech as the chairman, serving India today and tomorrow. Today, we live in a world full of paradoxes. On the one hand, the clarion call for fighting climate change and addressing biodiversity loss is growing louder. And on the other, the green cover of our world continues to recede at a rapid rate, with over 400 million hectares lost since 1990. According to an Oxfam report, 250 million people will be pushed into poverty this year. And at the same time, the world's 10 richest individuals more than doubled their collective fortunes since March 2020. The paradox exists in India as well. According to the World Inequality Report, India is amongst the most unequal countries in the world, with the top 10% owning almost 65% of the country's total wealth, while the bottom 50% own a little over 5%. Despite this, the India growth journey, which began prior to the pandemic, continues to be strong. However, to address the inequality and tackle the scourge of poverty, India needs growth that is not just transformative, but also equitable and inclusive. Growth that is both productivity-led, but also employment-led. This growth needs to be built on the robust foundations that will withstand the challenges of an increasingly volatile world. And at the same time, we will need to ensure that the accelerated growth does not come at the cost of nature. But there is no silver bullet to achieve this. We will need to make interventions in a few key areas. One of the biggest drivers of the transformation will be the transformation of rural India. We will need to step up productivity. At the same time, we will need to create enough employment opportunities in other sectors, such as manufacturing and services, to transition people out of agriculture. Manufacturing plays a pivotal role in creating employment opportunities for this. The Atmanirbhar Bharat vision and the corresponding fiscal stimulus through a special economic package that has been spelled out, that spells out India's growth ambitions in the area of manufacturing. The role of the MSME segment that employs around 12 crore people is also critical. MSMEs will have a big role in the India growth story by not just supplementing the country's GDP, but also contributing to employment, as it has a high employment to turnover ratio. All of this will need to be supported by robust infrastructure and decisive reforms in areas such as raising international competitiveness, boosting a green economy, strengthening healthcare and education, as well as creating a skilled and competitive labor market. We need to also ensure women's participation in the workforce. A McKinsey study estimates that India has the highest relative potential for additional GDP growth from achieving gender equality, as much as $700 billion US. Having said that, the opportunities that India presents are not without challenges, and as businesses, we need to play a big role. Hindustan Unilever has been an integral part of India's growth story and has always believed that what's good for India is good for the company. We've always believed that business needs to deliver the 4 Gs of growth: consistent, competitive, profitable, and responsible growth. With more than 9 out of 10 Indian households using one or more of our brands, we realize that we have a power to impact the lives of our consumers. Our conviction that purpose-driven brands and business can indeed deliver sustainable growth has been strengthened over the years. We've crossed the 50,000 crore turnover mark over the last decade, and we've doubled our turnover, tripled our EBITDA, and quadrupled our market capitalization. More importantly, we have strived to have a positive impact on not just the people who we directly employ, but those who are a part of our value chain. We've helped enable better livelihoods for many others through our community development projects, directly or indirectly, touching the lives of nearly 2 crore individuals. Now, to continue in serving India of tomorrow, it is important to understand that consumers and their needs are evolving. For instance, people are now demanding products that deliver functional benefits but are also good for the planet and people. Adoption of technology too has been at an accelerated pace amongst Indian consumers. With an increased adoption of digital, shopper journeys have now become phygital. As a result, brands need to be present everywhere. But that's not all. In a nation of paradoxes, critical to unlocking value is de-averaging. We will need to win in rural as well as urban, in mass as well as in premium, in traditional channels as well as in digital. We are conscious of all of this. At HUL, we are embedding sustainability across the value chain and beyond through what we call Compass. Compass, which is our strategy to make sustainable living commonplace. We are building a technology muscle to serve our customers and consumers even better. In fact, we are determined to showcase that there can never be a trade-off between purpose and performance. 7 years ago, we embarked on a journey to reimagine HUL by addressing the surging digital ecosystem and bringing data and technology center stage in our business. Our vision now is to create a solution that is fit for the complexity of the business and the emerging needs of the consumer. We are building capabilities to create a business that is smarter and more efficient, with a value chain that delivers the scale and efficiency of the large and at the same time builds the nimbleness of the small. Let me illustrate this with an example. Our content hubs such as Be Beautiful and Cleanipedia talk to consumers about trends and products. Smart Pick allows small pack trials, and direct-to-consumer channels allow consumers to make the final decisive purchase. When it comes to customers, Shikhar, our e-business-to-business app, helps retailers track and place orders virtually and now reaches over 8 lakh retailers. To deliver an unbeatable customer experience in terms of delivery reliability and real-time feedback, we've launched Samadhan, a tech-enabled customer delivery mechanism. And recently, our tech-driven Dapada manufacturing unit has become the first fast-moving consumer goods factory in India to join the World Economic Forum's Global Lighthouse Network. We believe that being a responsible, sustainable business only makes us stronger and better. In fact, it's the only way to do business. At HUL, we are committed to achieve a zero emissions for all our products from sourcing to point of sale by 2039, and have already reduced CO2 emissions per ton of our production by 94% compared to our 2008 baseline. In 2021, we became plastic neutral, which means we collected and safely disposed more plastic waste from the streets of India than the plastic that we use in the packaging of our finished products. Water is yet another area of focus for us, and through the Hindustan Unilever Foundation and its partners, we've created a cumulative water potential of over 1.9 trillion liters. That is about the drinking water needs of the entire population of India for 1 year. Another key commitment that we've made is to build a more resilient and equitable communities by raising living standards, advancing equity, diversity and inclusion, and preparing people for the future of work. By empowering women entrepreneurs, we've helped 1.6 lakh Shakti entrepreneurs across 18 states to generate income from themselves, but also cater to the needs of their communities. We are also committed to ensure that everyone, who directly provides goods and services to the company earns at least a living wage. And a living wage is significantly more than the legally mandated minimum wage by 2030. Through Project Prabhat, our community development initiative across key cities, we have been imparting employable and future-ready skills to women, people with disabilities, transgenders, sex workers, and the youth of India. Prabhat has, so far, impacted over 70 lakh lives across 21 states. Finally, to be able to decisively steer the business to its true potential and to serve the needs of a nation, we will need leaders. We will need leaders who are convinced that sustainable business models will be the only way to do business in the future. At HUL, we have a holistic approach towards honing our talent pipeline and building leadership capabilities in our people. Our talent practices have ensured that we continue to be the #1 employer of choice across industries in India. More than 400 CXOs in India today are from HUL. To conclude, as India moves forward, businesses will need to play a key role in overcoming the challenges and realizing the opportunities that exist. At HUL, we will continue to serve our consumers while taking care of people and the planet. We will continue to keep India first, for we believe that what's good for India is good for HUL. Let me now turn to the official business of the meeting by requesting Mr. Dev Bajpai to give a brief of the resolutions forming part of the notice.
Thank you, Chairman. There are in total 9 resolutions proposed to be passed in this AGM, and the same form part of the notice of the AGM at page number 302 of the integrated annual report. Since the notice has already been circulated to the members and the resolutions have been put to vote through remote e-voting, I am taking the resolutions as read. The resolutions are not required to be proposed and seconded. For the benefit of members attending this meeting, I will now provide a brief of the resolutions. Item number 1 of the notice. Resolution number 1 of the notice pertains to adoption of the audited financial statements, including audited consolidated financial statements for the financial year ended 31st March 2022 and the report of the Board of Directors and Auditor's report thereon. Item number 2 of the notice is with respect to confirmation of payment of interim dividend and declaration of final dividend. The Board of Directors at the meeting held on 19th October 2021 had approved interim dividend payment of ₹15 for every equity share of ₹1 each, which was paid on 12th November 2021. Further, the Board of Directors at the meeting held on 27th April 2022 have proposed a final dividend of ₹19 for every equity share of ₹1 for the financial year ended 31st March 2022. Item number 3 to 6 of the notice are with respect to reappointment of directors liable to retire by rotation. As per the Articles of Association of the company and the statutory requirement of the Companies Act 2013, all directors other than the managing director and the independent directors retire at the AGM each year. Item number 7 of the notice is with respect to remuneration payable to non-executive directors. The members of the company at the AGM held on 29 June 2015 had approved the payment of remuneration to non-executive directors of the company up to a maximum of ₹300 lakhs with effect from 1st April 2015 for a period of 5 years. Further, at the annual general meeting held on 30th June 2020, the members extended the time period for the aforesaid limits for a period of 3 years, that is from 1st April 2020 till 31st March 2023. It is proposed to extend the time period of the aforesaid limits of remuneration without any change in the overall limit of ₹300 lakhs of remuneration payable to non-executive directors from 1st April 2023 for a period of 3 years till 31st March 2026. Item number 8 of the notice relates to ratification of remuneration payable to Messrs. R.A. and Company, cost accountants, who have been appointed to conduct the audit of the cost records of the company for the financial year ended 31st March 2023. Item number 9 of the notice relates to material related party transaction. With effect from 1st April 2022, Regulation 23 of the Securities and Exchange Board of India, Listing Obligations and Disclosure Requirement Regulations 2015 mandates prior approval of shareholders through an ordinary resolution for all material related party transactions. For this purpose, a transaction with a related party shall be construed material if such transaction or transactions to be entered into individually or taken together with previous transactions during a financial year exceed rupees 1,000 crores or 10% of the annual consolidated turnover of the company as per the last audited financial statements of the company, whichever is lower. PT Unilever Oleochemical Indonesia is a wholly owned subsidiary of Unilever PLC and a fellow subsidiary of the company. The company procures raw materials, primarily palm oil derivatives and soap noodles from PT Unilever Oleochemicals Indonesia. The company has existing transactions, contracts, arrangements, agreements with PT Unilever Oleochemical Indonesia, which are at present within the materiality threshold as prescribed under the Securities and Exchange Board of India, Listing Obligations and Disclosure Requirement Regulations 2015. With the unprecedented inflation in palm oil prices, the aggregate value of transactions with PT Unilever Oleochemicals Indonesia is expected to exceed the materiality threshold of rupees 1,000 crores. Accordingly, it is proposed that the company shall enter into and or continue material related party transactions, contracts, arrangements, agreements with PT Unilever Oleochemicals Indonesia for purchase of raw materials, semi-finished goods for a period of 3 years, commencing from financial year 2022-2023 to financial year 2024-2025, individually and or in the aggregate up to an amount not exceeding rupees 1,250 crores in a financial year, provided, however, that such contracts, arrangements, transactions shall be carried out on an arm's length basis and in the ordinary course of business of the company. I now hand over the proceedings of the meeting to the chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Bajpai. I now invite those members who would like to offer their comments, make observations, seek clarifications, if any, on the report and accounts. A list of speakers who've registered themselves has already been placed before me. I will therefore call out the name of the members as per the order in this list. Now, in the interest of all our members, may I request the speakers to keep their comments brief, adhere to a time limit of about 2 minutes, and if possible, avoid repeating the questions. This will allow all our members who've registered to get an opportunity to share their views and seek clarifications. I will respond to all the questions and comments after all the speaker shareholders have spoken. The first of the speakers will be Mr. Jaideep Bakshi. Could we have Mr. Jaideep Bakshi, please?
Good afternoon, Mr. Bakshi. You are now live in the meeting. Your mic has been unmuted. You can switch on your camera and start speaking.
Hello.
Good afternoon, Chairman, MD, CEO, and board directors. Myself, Jaideep Bakshi from the city of Kolkata. Sir, the well explained in your speech our nation's and company's current status. I hope my thanks to our company secretary for giving me an opportunity to express my view. I convey my thanks to Mr. Saib and Uma and others for the cordial relation they are maintaining and helping out on our queries and coordinating for this video conference in a smooth manner. So well presented annual report and rightly captioned future fit depicting its confidence, market outlook, and above all business model. Congrats for crossing the 50,000 crore turnover mark this fiscal at a growth of 11% in this unprecedented scenario. It's a laudable feat. So our performance is well depicted in page 15 of the annual report. So the conflict in Ukraine has metamorphosed into a multi-dimensional global crisis. So the input cost has risen, the disruption in supply chain. So how are we planning to come out of this situation? So kindly highlight our penetration status in tier 2 and 3 towns with nuclear families coming up and urbanizations coming up also. And overall, our consumer habits are changing daily towards healthy and also searching for brands. So thanks for the dividend, the final one of 19 rupees, and after the interim of 15 rupees passed on to us. So our plans for counter rising the input cost and the transportation cost, and presently suppliers staying away from long-term contracts. What do you say about this? So regarding the counter plans, as inflation is impacting the sachet economy, so it is difficult to maintain the price point. So are we thinking of grammage reduction in our sachets? So congrats for the first FMCG's lighthouse factory at Dapada with latest technology and production in small batches. And also convey to the R&D team for the development work and rewarding us with best value-added products and any new technology absorption at this moment. So congrats for the CSR activities depicted in pages 60 to 67 and different projects undertaken, and also for the 1.16 lakh tons of plastic waste collection and disposal. So what mentioning here, in the time of crisis, our company's mission hope, supplying oxygen concentration. The pandemic has taught us how lack of oxygen can change the course of our lives. So what is our stand for using the virgin plastic for our products? So congrats for the awards that we have received, and to our marketing team for the advertisement in different media and retaining the faith of the customers in our brand, and also for the marching forward for our carbon neutralization program. Sir, lastly, to spread awareness for our 75th years of independence, are we getting it printed on our products packs? Sir, is there any plan for any personalized HUL store coming up in the near future? So nothing to add more. So I hope our management and staff with our mission and vision will bring out more positive results and rewards the shareholders handsomely in coming years. Thank you and all stay safe. Thank you, sir, for giving me an opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Bakshi. May we now have Ms. Lekha Shah.
Good afternoon, Ms. Lekha Shah. You are now live in the meeting. We have unmuted your mic. You can go ahead, switch on your camera and start speaking.
Can you hear me, ma'am?
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Respected Chairman, sir, Board of Directors, and my fellow members, good afternoon to all of you. Myself, Lekha Shah from Mumbai. First of all, I am very much thankful to our Company Secretary Devji, especially Milan sir, Umaji, for extending very good investor services and also sending me the AGM notice by email well in time.
I think we've lost you.
Excellent, sir. Sir, I pray to God that He always shower His blessing upon you. Thank you, Nitinji, for such a informative, wonderful presentation. Sir, at the outset, I congratulate the management for receiving various excellence awards in the all categories of the year 2021 and 22. And also, I am glad the company is doing very well in the field of CSR activities. Our company, being leader in FMG's market in spite of COVID-19 pandemic, our company managed to perform excellent performance for the financial year 2021 and 22. Thank you for the dividend, sir. Sir, I would like to ask few questions. My first question is, how many new products you plan to launch the home care division in the current year? My second question is, has there been any impact of COVID second wave on the company operation? So I would like to say, I strongly support all the resolutions for today's meeting and my best wishes, always our company and its prosperity. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Lekha Shah. May we now have Mr. Shivam Bajaj.
Mr. Shivam Bajaj, good afternoon. You are now live in the meeting. We have unmuted your mic. You can go ahead, switch on your video and start speaking.
Hello. Am I audible and visible?
You are audible for sure.
Yeah.
Yes, you're visible as well.
Hi, good afternoon, Nitin sir and Sanjeev Mehta sir. It has been an honor speaking at the moment. This has been one of the few FMCG companies AGM which I have attended, and I am feeling proud. And I was looking for a way to contact to the management, and what beautiful day can be an AGM for that. So thank you very much for the opportunity for the company secretary. It's definitely an honor to interact with you, Sanjeev Mehta sir and Nitin sir. So coming to the agenda for the day, today I'll ask a question, I'll give you a feedback and a suggestion as well. So my first question, which I want to ask from you, like what is the plan for the company to integrate the U-Shop with the metaverse? And how and when can the company think about issuing bonus shares and coupons to the shareholders? My suggestion to the company is related to the Quality Walls brand. There are a lot of ice creams which are available, but they are in the small cups like Trick City cheesecake. Searching over the internet, I have seen that Trick City cheesecake has been in a demand in a huge manner. But since the product is in a very small package, in a very small box, so people are demanding to the company for a bigger packs. So my suggestion is to the company to release the bigger packs for Trick City cheesecake. It's a delicious product, by the way. One of the suggestion is I would request the company management to look at the quality of the annual report being sent to the shareholders. I am sure the quality of pages would be something which the company would look at, because I don't want my company to send such quality of annual report to the shareholders. So I'm sure the company would look at this matter. My next point is the campaigns, like the wonderful campaigns like Kaan Khajuya Station, Bin Boy, and Life Boy Se Haath Dhoye Kya are some wonderful campaigns which Unilever has run across televisions. I want my company to rerun some of the campaigns on the television, not just the message, but the entire campaigns on the social media if possible, because it's very motivating and inspiring. So this is what I wanted to say, and at last, thank you very much, Investor Services Department, and I hope Nitin sir and Sanjeev Mehta sir are doing great. And if I could receive a message, so how are you, sir, Sanjeev sir and Nitin sir?
Thank you. I'm doing well, and I'm delighted to hear your suggestions and feedback.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was wonderful talking to you, and looking forward to see this company from 50,000 to 1 lakh crore mark very soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shivam.
Judge. May we now have Ms. Prakashini Shenoy.
Good afternoon, Ms. Chenoy.
Yeah, good afternoon.
You're now live with the meeting.
Yes.
You can go ahead and talk.
I'm Prakashini Shenoy from Bombay. First of all, I want to welcome Mr. Nitin Peranjave, sir, since this is his first meeting. I wish you good luck, sir.
Thank you.
Respected Honorable Chairman, Sri Nitin Peranjave, sir, other members on the board, and my fellow shareholders, good afternoon to all of you. I received the annual report well in time, which is colorful, transparent, informative, and contains all the information as per the corporate governance. I thank Uma Rajagopalan and her team for the same. I should not forget to thank her once again for giving me the link, and because of her, I'm in a position to speak today. Thank you, Uma Gopalan, madam, once again. Sir, we are living in a days where everything is unpredictable, including our life. In in such a circumstances, running a company like HUL is a great thing. I thank the chairman for the same. Once again, I thank the chairman for giving such a outstanding message to the shareholders in his speech. It was really a wonderful speech, sir. I wanted to ask many questions, but most of the questions are covered in your wonderful speech. You have given us the thick and thin of the company, sir. At the outset, I want to congratulate the management for receiving various excellent awards in all the categories for the year 2021 and 22. I am thankful to the board for declaring dividend for the financial year 21-22. I am also very glad to note that the company has done outstanding work in the field of CSR activities. Sir, I have few questions. Our company being the leader in FMCG market, and in spite of COVID-19 pandemic, our company managed to perform excellent performance for the financial year 21-22. With the recent slowdown and high inflation, with that have an effect on our sales going forward. Sir, how many new products you plan to launch in the home care divisions in the current year? As regards the plastics used to package our products and government regulations to ban plastics, is there a solution or any alternative for the same? Please clarify. Last but not the least, with this I thank the chairman and other members of the board once again for the best performance and hoping a bright future for the company. I wish the company good luck for a bright future and pray God that the profit of the company shall reach the peak in due course. Sir, I strongly support all the resolutions put forth in today's meeting. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Prakashini. May I now request Ms. Smita Shah.
Good afternoon, Ms. Smita Shah. You're now live in the meeting. Your mic has been unmuted. You can go ahead and speak.
Okay, hello, madam. आवाज आ रही है मेरी?
Yes, we
Hello.
can hear you.
Yes, please.
Okay. Thank you, madam. माननीय चेयरमैन श्री नितिन जी, एमडी सीईओ श्री संजीव जी और अन्य मान्यवर डायरेक्टर, सर मैं बंबई से स्मिता शाह बात कर रही हूँ. सर, आपकी सादर नमस्कार सर. नितिन जी, आपको बहुत बहुत बधाई देती हूँ. आज आपकी फर्स्ट एजीएम में हम मिले हैं, लेकिन अगर रूबरू मिलते थे तो आपका फूलों से मैं जरूर स्वागत करती थी. लेकिन आज हम वीसी माध्यम द्वारा हम और आप बहुत दूरी पे हैं सर, तो नेक्स्ट ईयर जरूर मिलेंगे. और आपकी बैलेंस शीट इन टाइम मिली, वेरी इंफॉर्मेटिव कलरफुल फोटो के साथ अट्रैक्टिव बैलेंस शीट बनाई हुई है पूरी इंफॉर्मेशन के साथ. और सर, आपकी लीडरशिप में पूरी बोर्ड टीम की मेहनत, सभी छोटे बड़े एम्प्लॉइज वर्कर सभी की मेहनत और लगन से कंपनी का टर्नओवर, प्रॉफिट आफ्टर टैक्स, अर्निंग पर शेयर सभी में बढ़ोतरी पाई है. साथ में सर आपने काफी अवार्ड्स भी प्राप्त किए. और संजीव जी, आपने 2021 में माइंड रस अवार्ड बेस्ट सीईओ का प्राप्त किया है. बहुत बहुत अभिनंदन सर. लेकिन संजीव जी, थोड़ी स्माइल तो होनी जरूरी है बैलेंस शीट में सर. आपकी सीरियस नजर आ रही है. नितिन जी की स्माइल बहुत बढ़िया है सर, तो संजीव जी थोड़ी स्माइल जरा जरूरी है सर, जरूर दीजिए स्माइल. थैंक यू सर. और सर, दूसरा मैं जरूर एक लेडी के नाते मैं जरूर प्राउड करते हुए कहूंगी कि हमारे ब्यूटी एंड पर्सनल केयर मैडम प्रिया जी नायर ने जो मोस्ट पावरफुल वुमेन इन बिजनेस का अवार्ड भी प्राप्त किया है. सो मैडम को बहुत बहुत बधाई हो सर. इसी तरह आपने सभी रीति से आप अपना नाम मार्केट में बना के रखा है सर. तो मेरी बहुत बहुत अभिनंदन देते हुए मैं शुभकामना फ्यूचर्स के लिए जरूर कहूंगी कि आप फ्यूचर्स में भी ऐसे ही नाम अपना रोशन रखना और आगे बढ़ाते रखना. डिविडेंड भी हमारा आगे बढ़ाते रखना सर. बाकी तो सर, आपकी सेक्रेटरी टीम तो लाजवाब है. वाजपेयी जी खुद फोन उठाकर कोई भी क्वेरी है तो सॉल्व कर देते हैं। तो मैं श्री वाजपेयी जी और उनकी टीम से मिलिंद जी, उमा जी, सभी को मैं बहुत ही हेल्पफुल नेचर के कि आज हमें जो हम बात करने का मौका दिया तो उनकी हेल्प से ही हुआ है। तो बहुत बहुत हमें सपोर्ट किया है आपके साथ बात करने का, तो पूरी सेक्रेटरी टीम को मैं बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देती हूँ। और लास्टली सर, मैं जरूर कहूंगी कि नेक्स्ट ईयर की 98 एजीएम में हम आपके साथ फिजिकल एजीएम में मिलना चाहते हैं, तो जरूर नेक्स्ट ईयर की एजीएम फिजिकली रखें, वो भी हम और शेयर होल्डर और आप सभी की गुड हेल्थ वेल्थ के साथ। तो अपना स्वास्थ्य का जरूर ख्याल रखें सर। हम आपको मीटिंग एजीएम में हम फिजिकल मिलेंगे और हम और आप साथ में आइसक्रीम खाएंगे सर, जरूर। तो जरूर आप फिजिकल एजीएम रखिए और शुभकामना के साथ आज के रिजोल्यूशन में फुल्ली सपोर्ट करते हुए धन्यवाद सर। सर भरत साहब बात करें, चालू रखिए। थैंक यू सर।
हेलो सर, आवाज आ रही है ना?
मिस्टर
माननीय नितिन
भरत शाह,
आवाज आ रही है? हाँ, भरत शाह। सर, माननीय चेयरमैन श्री नितिन जी, एमडी श्री संजीव अरोरा जी और अन्य मान्यवर डायरेक्टर, सर मेरा नाम भरत शाह। सर मेरी कोई क्वेरी नहीं है, बरसों से आपकी एजीएम अटेंड करता हूँ, बरसों से शेयर होल्डर रहा हूँ, बहुत व्यवस्थित आप न्यूट्रली कंपनी चला रहे हो सर। शेयर होल्डर का हमेशा आपने ख्याल रखा है, शेयर होल्डर का हित को ख्याल रखा है और शेयर होल्डर को अच्छा डिविडेंड दिया है। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देता हूँ और भगवान ईश्वर को प्रार्थना है अपनी कंपनी दिन दोगुनी रात चौगुनी बहुत बहुत आगे बढ़े सर। और सर डिविडेंड भी अच्छा है, रिटर्न भी अच्छा है, सब कुछ अच्छा है सर। लेकिन आगे जाके तो 1-2 साल में जरूर, अभी बहुत सालों से हम लोग बोनस के लिए बोल रहे हैं सर, तो 2-3 साल में सर बोनस जरूर देने की कृपा करना सर। बाकी तो सर सीएसआर एक्टिविटी बहुत अच्छी व्यवस्थित चल रही है सर। बहुत धन्यवाद का काम है सर, बहुत मानवता का काम है। तो मैं सीएसआर एक्टिविटी के लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देता हूँ। सारे अवार्ड्स के लिए भी धन्यवाद देता हूँ और संजीव जी को जो अवार्ड मिला है उसके लिए मैं संजीव जी का भी अभिनंदन करता हूँ। और नितिन जी, मैं एक बात कहने का भूल गया कि एक आपका ये पहला एजीएम है, मैं आपका फूलों से हार्दिक स्वागत करना चाहता था, लेकिन ये वीसी माध्यम से मैं नहीं करता है, तो हृदयपूर्वक आपका हार्दिक स्वागत करता हूँ सर। और सर, मैं कंपनी सेक्रेटरी श्री देव वाजपेयी और उनकी पूरी टीम को बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देता हूँ सर। बहुत हार्ड वर्किंग टीम है वाजपेयी जी की, मिलिंद जी और उमा जी और उनकी पूरी टीम का मैं बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देता हूँ सर। बहुत अच्छी इन्वेस्टर सर्विस दे रहे हैं सर और कभी भी कोई क्वेरी है तो सोल्व करते हैं सर। और शेयर होल्डर को हमेशा रिस्पेक्ट देते हैं। तो मैं पूरी सेक्रेटरी टीम वाजपेयी जी की पूरी हार्ड वर्किंग सेक्रेटरी टीम को बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देता हूँ सर। और सर नेक्स्ट ईयर जरूर फेस टू फेस मिलना सर। अभी तो सब कोविड भी कंट्रोल में आने लगा है, तो सर नेक्स्ट ईयर फेस टू फेस मिलने की आपको बहुत इच्छा कर रही है, तो जरूर फेस टू फेस आप मिलना जरूर नेक्स्ट ईयर। एजीएम फेस टू फेस पहले की तरह करने की मेरी आपको रिक्वेस्ट है सर। और आने वाले सभी त्योहारों की भी मैं शुभकामनाएं देता हूं सर। और सब रिजोल्यूशन में मेरा पूरा सपोर्ट है सर। थैंक यू वेरी मच। थैंक यू सर। जय हिंद, जय हिंद, वंदे मातरम सर। जय हिंद। थैंक यू सर।
जय हिंद। मिस्टर कौशिक शाहूकर, मिस्टर कौशिक शाहूकर।
Good afternoon, Mr. Shaukar. You are now live in the meeting. We have unmuted your mic. You can go ahead and talk.
Good afternoon, everyone. First off, I would like to thank Board of Directors for giving me an opportunity again to speak in this forum. Many of you would remember me from the conversation in past years. So I will keep both my introduction and ask brief. I hope I'm clearly audible.
Yes, we can hear you.
Myself, Kaushik Shahukar, a qualified chartered accountant from Mumbai. I have been suffering from dystonia, which has rendered 55% of my body paralyzed, impacting my right hand, my right leg, and speech. While I have not let that come in my way of becoming a chartered accountant and practicing, I do request your support in helping me continue to be self-reliant. I hope I am clearly audible till now.
Very audible. Thank you.
Yeah. I was optimistic after our conversation we had last year about me working for our organization on certification work, including Form 15CB. However, nothing has progressed since. While I understand things may not have progressed due to the pandemic situation last year, I do hope that after our conversation today, our organization would start engaging me in this area as soon as possible. Once again, thank you for opportunity to speak today, and I hope to see a positive movement forward with my ask. I support all the resolution. Also, request you to please provide the reply for my ask. Also, how will the metaverse unfold and transform our enterprise? Lastly, why can't company give sample product to shareholders? It will only act as a advertisement, that too free of cost. Thank you all once again.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Kaushik Shahukar. Can we now have Mr. Suresh Anand Khanolkar?
Good afternoon, Mr. Khanolkar. You are now live in the meeting. We've unmuted your mic. You can go ahead, switch on your camera and start speaking.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
You can hear, no?
Yes. We can hear you, Mr. Khanolkar.
Yes. Yeah. Good afternoon, our chairman. So first of all, to begin with, I welcome our chairman, new chairman, Mr. Nitin Paranspe. We are seeing you after a very, very long time, though virtually we are seeing you in person, but actually in person we have seen you a couple of years ago. So you are welcome back. Thank you. Now, sir, now coming to our annual report copy. So report copy is very good, but why no blank page is kept at the end of the comments for comments and questions? Every year we do this. This year I think we have missed it. Then secondly, sir, excellent position of reserves to equity. Sir, why not consider of bonus shares? This has already been expressed by earlier speakers also. So I wish you will fulfill our demand in a short course. So we are a zero debt company. It is very admirable, and this status we have kept on for a long, long time since last couple of years. Working capital management regarding with is excellent, and we are working on negative working capital, reasonably negative working capital. So then I would like to go through about liquidity position. The liquidity position in our company is quite excellent. In spite of this, trade payable dues of creditors other than micro and small enterprises appear somewhat higher. I would like to utilize cash discounts wherever possible and have a better, more healthy looking balance sheet. Sir, good rise in net profits in spite of last COVID pandemic year. I must congratulate all the staff, management as well as working staff for this excellent result. Then EPS is quite higher than last year. Excellent. It is about 37.5. So appropriation of net profit topic is untraceable in the whole report copy. I do not know why this has been, kept covered or hidden or somewhere. Such an important thing. All shareholders, first of all, when we receive the report, look for the dividend declared. And the dividend mentioning is not mentioned anywhere. So please see to it that it is mentioned, and generally it is always mentioned in the director's report. I didn't see it in the director's report. It should be prominently displayed in director's report. Dividend rupees 34 per share is in small type is explained on page 15 only. So last year EPS was less and dividend was more. This year dividend is less and EPS is more. So this is why this kind of unusual, unexplainable situation kept over in this report. Please explain. Then regarding with foreign exchange earned, sir, foreign exchange earned is here almost half of foreign exchange outgo. It hurts. The gap should be very thin minimum, or I would expect the gap should be the other way. I wish you will consider this point. Our cash flow management is fine, but balancing is, I feel bit towards negativity side. Like our Horlicks Diabetes Plus, why not have Horlicks Kidney Relief? About this point, I have expressed in more detail in my email letter to you. So I'm not speaking over much on this point. Sir, then last but not least, my really hearty congratulations to our Sanju Mehta, current CEO and our MD. Sir, I was really very, very happy to read in the Times of India first page that our Sanju Mehta has been inducted on the board of Air India. It is the honor of great achievement for Sanju Mehta that man like Ratan Tata feels that this man should be on my board. So it is, I tell you, sir, Sanjeevji, I also experience proudness in my mind that our man has been taken up on the board of Air India. So my hearty congratulations to Sanju Mehta for his induction on the board of Air India. And I wish we hear more and more encouraging news about him in future. Sir, then another thing I want to express to him is that he along with Chandra of TCS, then Anand of Mahindra have encouraged and have expressed their goodness about the Government of India's Agnipath scheme. So that is also a very good and encouraging point. I read about it in the Times of India. So Sanjeevji, I once again thank you and congratulate you for your that also expression and that also spirit, because that spirit is very important thereby. So with this, I think I may have perhaps crossed 2 minutes limit expressed by our Paransmith Sahib. So I'm stopping it here. Yeah. Most of the things I already explained in my email. So I take your leave here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Khanolkar. Can we now have Mr. Ashish Shankar Bansal?
Good afternoon, Mr. Bansal. You're now live in the meeting. We have unmuted your mic. You can switch on your camera and start speaking.
Chairman and Board of Directors, thanks for giving us dividend and thanks for managing to connect to this AGM today. Also, I have written the question. If you can reply us, I am thankful to you. Thank you so much.
Hello. Mr. Could you repeat? I missed what you were saying.
He says he has already given his questions.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Bansal. May we have Mr. Santosh Kumar Saraf.
Good afternoon, Mr. Saraf. You're now live in the meeting. We have unmuted your mic. You can switch on your camera and start speaking.
1 minute, madam.
Mr. Saraf? Yeah.
Yes, I am sharing my video.
Hello.
आदरणीय सभापति जी, उपस्थित निर्देशक मंडल सदस्यगण और मेरे शेयर होल्डर भाइयों बहनों, जो आज हम वीडियो कॉन्फ्रेंस में प्रेजेंट है, मेरा नाम संतोष कुमार साहब, मैं कलकत्ता से बोल रहा हूँ सर। सर्वप्रथम आप सभी को मेरा नमस्कार। आशा करता हूँ आप हमारे जितने डायरेक्टर हैं, जितने भी अधिकारीगण हैं, जितने भी कर्मचारी हैं, इस समय अच्छे स्वास्थ्य में होंगे सर। सर, मैंने मेरे कुछ प्रश्न पहले ही भेज दिए आपको, तो जिसमें मैंने लिखा है आपको कि एक तो सर एक जो अपना पेंडेमिक पीरियड जो अपना गया है, इसमें कंपनी ने क्या लेसन दिया है जिससे कि अपनी कंपनी आगे में भविष्य में ऐसी अगर कोई समस्या आती है तो उसमें अच्छे से हम भविष्य में काम कर सकें सर। एक सर मैंने प्रश्न पूछा है सर कि आपके जो डिस्प्यूट केस अपने सेंट्रल एक्साइज अदर कई डिस्प्यूट केस सर 1970 से है सर, करीबन 45 साल से पेंडिंग है, तो इसको बैलेंस शीट क्लीन करने के लिए क्या कदम उठाया सर? पीछे में भारत गवर्नमेंट की स्कीम थी है, उसके अंदर में आपको कुछ सेटलमेंट करने का मौका भी मिला था, आपने क्यों नहीं किया सर, ये बताइएगा सर। एक सर अपने 8,480 कर्मचारी है टोटल, इनके जोन जोन वाइज अगर फिगर पास किया हो तो बताइएगा, इसमें फीमेल कितनी है और अपंग मतलब दिव्यांग कितने हैं, ये भी बताने का कष्ट करिएगा सर। दूसरा सर ये बताने का कष्ट करिएगा कि आपने रेन वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग के लिए और सोलर एनर्जी रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी के लिए क्या कदम उठाए हैं, और कदम उठाए तो उसकी अभी प्रेजेंट कैपेसिटी क्या है सर। एक सर सिंगल यूज प्लास्टिक का जो 1 जुलाई से बंद हो रहा है, इसके बारे में अपने ब्रांचेज को और अपने को क्या निर्देश दिया है, ये भी बताने का कष्ट करिएगा सर। एक सर मेरे का ये है कि अभी आपने जो पैकेट अपने हैं उसकी उसमें क्वांटिटी कम कर दी है, प्राइस सेम रखे हैं, तो सर हम कभी एक पैकेट लेते हैं तो पहले एक पैकेट में हमारा नाश्ता हो जाता था, अभी हमको एक पैकेट में नाश्ता होता नहीं, उसके लिए हमको 1.5 पैकेट लेनी पड़ती है, तो 1.5 पैकेट तो मिलती नहीं, हमें 2 पैकेट लेनी पड़ती है। तो सर क्यों नहीं वही 2 रकम की साइज रखी जाए, प्राइस बढ़ा के जब 5 रुपये थे उसे 7 रुपये रखे जाए, तो ऐसा अगर हो तो देखिए विचार करिएगा सर। और सर ये है कि अपने होम केयर ब्यूटी केयर इसमें अपना मार्केट शेयर क्या है ये बताने का कष्ट करिएगा, अपने कितने % मार्केट शेयर अपना ये बताइएगा सर। और सर ये भी बताइएगा कि जो अपने 8,400 कितने कर्मचारी है, इनकी इनकी फैमिली को बूस्टर डोज दिलवाने के लिए क्या कदम उठा रहे हैं सर, क्योंकि अगर कर्मचारी के साथ में फैमिली को नहीं दिलवाएंगे तो हो सकता है आपने कुछ करता है, इसके लिए क्या कदम उठा रहे हैं, और इनका जो खर्चा लगता है बूस्टर डोज का वो क्या कंपनी रीअसेंबल करने का प्लानिंग कर रही है, तो बताने की चेष्टा करिए सर। एंड लास्ट में एक और वीडियो कॉन्फ्रेंसिंग नतीन जी है, आपसे रिक्वेस्ट है कि इसको कंटिन्यू रखिएगा, क्योंकि आप लोग बॉम्बे में मीटिंग करते हैं और मेरी जैसे एज और बॉम्बे में जाके मीटिंग अटेंड करना पॉसिबल नहीं है, और बॉम्बे वाले शेयर होल्डर चाहेंगे आपसे फिजिकल मीटिंग करें, तो मैं रिक्वेस्ट करता हूँ फिजिकल मीटिंग करिए, मुझे कोई ऑब्जेक्शन नहीं है, तो फिजिकल हिसाब से 15 से 20 मिनट का एक हाइब्रिड मीटिंग का भी पोर्शन रखिए। अभी 2 दिन पहले हमारे कलकत्ते में कंपनी है केशराम इंडस्ट्री, आप अच्छे से जानते होंगे, उन्होंने फिजिकल मीटिंग की थी, उसके साथ में उन्होंने वीडियो कॉन्फ्रेंसिंग मीटिंग रखी, तो वो अच्छा कंसेप्ट है सर, फ्यूचर में इसका ध्यान रखिए जिससे हम आपको अपने दिल की भावना और अपने मन में जो विचार आते हैं वो प्रकट कर सकेंगे। अब ज्यादा कुछ नहीं, मैं भगवान से प्रार्थना करता हूँ कि 2022-23 आपके परिवार के लिए, जितने भी अधिकारी हैं उनके परिवार के लिए, और जितने भी हमारे कर्मचारी काम कर रहे हैं उनके परिवार के लिए वेल्दी हेल्दी पॉजिटिव और सेफ्टी के साथ व्यतीत हो। जय हिंद, जय भारत, नमस्कार।
Thank you. Can we now have Mr. Manoj Kumar Gupta?
Good afternoon, Mr. Manoj Gupta. You're now live in the meeting. Your mic has been unmuted.
Hello, good afternoon, respected Chairman, Board of Directors, fellow shareholders. My name is Manoj Kumar Gupta. I am equity shareholder of Hindustan Unilever Limited. Sir, I'm calling from Calcutta. So can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello. Yes, sir. First of all, I congratulate you on achievement of your awards and your recognitions. And I wish to God for your healthy and prosperous, safe, long life. And we people of Calcutta also want to meet you in Calcutta. Just make a program to come to Calcutta. And sir, how you will face a competition from Patanjali. Now the Patanjali has Ruchi Soya changed their name from Ruchi Soya to Patanjali Products Limited. And sir, have you any plan to launch e-stores like ITC? Recently, ITC has launched e-stores. All products of ITC available on e-stores of ITC. And my children has booked some items of ITC, and they have delivered within 16 hours to my house of frozen items. And how you will face a competition from multinational companies and others in India in Lakme business. Lakme business. There is a tough competition in the Lakme business. And competition in ice cream from Amul and Vadilal, because Amul giving advertisement that real ice cream is Amul ice cream made from milk. So how you will face that competition? And prospect of retail business in India for next 2 to 3 years. What's your prospect of the retail business? And make in India from like as Godrej, ITC and others. So how you will feel that? And reward to investors. How you will reward to investors, because long due spending for bonus and bonus debenture. So how you will reward? Any plan to launch wafer chips like Bingo, Uncle Chips and others? Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Gupta. Can we now have Mr. Sharat Kumar Jivraj Shah?
Good afternoon, Mr. Shah. You are now live in the meeting. You can switch on your camera and start speaking.
कॅमेरा परांजपे साहेब, आपलं या मीटिंग मध्ये अभिनंदन आणि कॉंग्रॅच्युलेशन. आणि आपण काय म्हणाला की आपण 40 वर्ष या कंपनीत काम केलं आहे आणि आता माझं ऑब्झर्वेशन असं आहे की यू आर द यंगेस्ट तरुण चेअरमन आहात HUL चे, तर त्याच्याबद्दलही अभिनंदन. आणि आता आपण काय म्हणाला की इंडियाचं चांगलं झालं तर HULचं चांगलं होतं. तसंच आता ह्याच्यात एक ऍडिशन आहे, जर महाराष्ट्राचं चांगलं झालं तर HULचं चांगलं होईल हे. आणि दुसरं तुम्ही म्हणाला की हिंदुस्तान लिव्हर ही कंपनी लीडरशिप तयार करते, लोक तयार करते आणि जे दुसऱ्या कंपनीत जॉईन होतात तिथे त्या कंपन्या मोठ्या करतात. आता गव्हर्नमेंटनी अग्निपथ हे चालू केलेलं आहे आणि आनंद महिंद्रानी आणि चंद्रशेखरनी त्याला पाठिंबा दिला आहे. आणि माझं ऑब्झर्वेशन असं आहे की TCS काय करते की इतरांना सॉफ्टवेअर मध्ये म्हणजे पासपोर्ट ऑफिस असो किंवा ह्याच्यामध्ये मदत करते त्यांच्या एक्सपिरियन्सची. तर आपला एक्सपिरियन्स हा लीडरशिप क्रिएट करण्याचा आहे. तर अग्निपथ मध्ये आपण जर गव्हर्नमेंटला लीडर्स तयार करण्याची मदत केली तर फारच बरं होईल असं माझं मत आहे. आणि दुसरं असं की पेज नंबर 2 वर आपण फर्स्ट टाइम अॅन्युअल रिपोर्टमध्ये हिंदुस्तान लिव्हरची हिस्ट्री दिलेली आहे, ती एकच पेज दिलेली आहे. हिंदुस्तान लिव्हर इज अ व्हेरी बिग कंपनी, त्याच्याकडे बरेच प्रॉडक्ट्स आहेत, त्याची बरीच हिस्ट्री आहे. आणि मी आपल्याला डालडा कंपनीची हिस्ट्री पाठवली होती, इट वॉज व्हेरी इंटरेस्टिंग. तर अशा हिस्ट्रीज ह्याच्याकरता तुम्ही जर सगळ्या हिस्ट्री जर पुढच्या अॅन्युअल रिपोर्टमध्ये छापल्या तर फार बरं होईल, म्हणजे लोकांना कळेल की हिंदुस्तान लिव्हर कशी मोठी झाली, हिस्टॉरिकल इन्फॉर्मेशन असेल. आणि मी तुम्हाला एक सांगतो की टाटा ऑइल जशी हिंदुस्तान लिव्हरनी विकत घेतली, अक्वायर केली, त्या टाटा ऑइल्सचे मिल्सचे सोहराब मोदी ह्या फिल्म प्रोड्युसरचे माझ्याकडे शेअर्स मी त्याच्याकडून विकत घेतले होते. आणि दुसरं माझं एक ऑब्झर्वेशन असं आहे साहेब की तुम्ही म्हणाला की आउट ऑफ 10 लोक 9 हिंदुस्तान लिव्हरचे प्रॉडक्ट वापरतात. आणि माझं सजेशन असं आहे की आउट ऑफ 10 ऑल 10 विल यूज हिंदुस्तान लिव्हर प्रॉडक्ट, ह्याची आपण सोय केली पाहिजे. आणि माझं एक छोटंसं सजेशन आहे की जे शेअर होल्डर्स होल्ड मोर दॅन 5,000 शेअर्स त्यांना जर तुम्ही डिस्काउंट कुपन दिले तर आपलं काय होईल की 10 आउट ऑफ 10 लोक हिंदुस्तान लिव्हरचे प्रॉडक्ट घेतील. दुसरं माझं एक ऑब्झर्वेशन असं आहे की फूड प्रोडक्ट्स मध्ये सर आपले 3 डिव्हिजन्स आहेत. फूड प्रॉडक्ट्सचा आपला टर्नओव्हर कम्पेअर टू अदर 2 सेक्टर्स कमी आहे. आणि ऍक्च्युअली या 2 वर्षात करोनामुळे इतर सगळ्या कंपन्यांचा टर्नओव्हर फूड प्रॉडक्ट्स मध्ये वाढला आणि त्याचा ऍडव्हान्टेज आपण घेऊ शकलो नाही, कारण की आपल्याकडे सुटेबल प्रॉडक्ट्स नाही आहेत. तर माझं मत असं आहे की आपण जर प्रयत्न केला तर डेफिनेटली वी कॅन डू, म्हणजे प्रयत्न केला तर आपल्याला हे शक्य आहे. हिंदुस्तान लिव्हरला काही शक्य नाही अशी कुठलीही गोष्ट नसते. आणि दुसरं म्हणजे आता आज मी सकाळी पाहत होतो हॉर्लिक्सचं 20 रुपयाचं पाकिट काहीतरी मिळतं, पण माय ऑब्झर्वेशन इज मोठ्या मॉलमध्ये गेलो वगैरे कुठे तर ही स्मॉल पॅकेट्स कुठेही मिळत नाही. तर ही लहान पॅकेट्स जनरली सगळ्यांना मिळाली तर लोक जास्तीत जास्त त्याचा वापर करतील, हा माझा. आणि दुसरं आता माझं एक ऑब्झर्वेशन आहे की आपण जे प्रॉडक्ट्स तयार करतो तर आपण टायर 1 सिटी, टायर 2 सिटी, टायर 3 सिटी, लेवल 1, लेवल 2, लेवल 3 म्हणतो. आणि प्रत्येकाचं उत्पन्नाचा सोर्स, इन्कम लेव्हल ही वेगवेगळी असते. तर प्रत्येक लेव्हल करता आपण जर प्रॉडक्ट्स तयार केले तर मला डेफिनेटली वाटतं की आपला सेल्स वाढू शकेल. आणि ज्या एरियामध्ये लोक शिरत नाही त्या एरियामध्ये आपण जर शिरलो तर डेफिनेटली वी विल मेक मनी. आता एक उदाहरण द्यायचं म्हटलं तर इलेक्ट्रिकल कार्समध्ये जगातल्या कुठल्याही कार कंपन्या जायला तयार नव्हता. हे ऑब्झर्व करून टाटा मोटर्सनी त्यात एंट्री घेतली आणि त्यांचा सेल मोर दॅन डबल झाला, त्यांचा प्रेझेन्स वाढला, त्यांचं नाव झालं. तर असं काही आपण केलं तर डेफिनेटली विल हॅव गुड मार्केट सर. आणि दुसरं माझं ऑब्झर्वेशन असं आहे की मी माझ्या मेलमध्ये पण लिहिलंय सर, हा मिलिंद शेलार हा आपल्याकडे जवळजवळ मी 20-25 वर्ष त्याला पाहतोय किंवा 2002 पासून पाहतोय. हा 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 के फिनटेकचा माणूस नाहीच आहे, हा माणूस आहे HULचा आणि इट इज अ ॲसेट ऑफ HUL असं माझं मत आहे. के फिनटेकचा तो ॲसेट नाही आहे आणि त्याच्यामुळे आपला खूप शेअर होल्डरची फार चांगलं रिलेशन होतो आणि त्यामुळे डेफिनेटली कंपनीला फायदा होतो. आणि दुसरं जसं आपले मिलिंद शेलार आहेत तसंच कंपनी सेक्रेटरी इज ऑल्सो व्हेरी इम्पॉर्टंट अँड आय एम सीइंग हिम इन दिस कंपनी फॉर अ व्हेरी लॉंग टाइम अँड लुकिंग ॲट हिज सॅलरी I feel personally that we should maintain his salary or increase his salary so that he can give better service to the shareholders. आणि दुसरं एक सांगायचं असं आहे की मी 2001 मध्ये पहिल्यांदा माझं डीमॅट अकाउंट उघडलं आणि हिंदुस्तान लिव्हरचे शेअर डीमॅट केले. आणि द रिझन वॉज मला लोकांना माझे नेटवर्थ किती आहेत हे दाखवायचे होतं, म्हणजे माझी क्रेडिटिबिलिटी इन द मार्केट काय आहे. आणि त्यावेळेला हिंदुस्तान लिव्हरचा शेअरची किंमत 2001 मध्ये 230 होती, आजची किंमत 2300 आहे. इट मीन्स माय अप्रिसिएशन इज 10 टाइम्स होतं. इट इज अ डेफिनेटली गुड. बट जस्ट नाऊ आता मी जरा एशियन पेंटचा बॅलन्स शीट पाहत होतो आणि पुन्हा मी त्यांच्याशी आणि तुमचं कम्पेअर केलं तर 2001 मध्ये त्यांची प्राइस आणि 2022 मधली त्यांची प्राइस जर आपण कम्पेअर केली तर एशियन पेंटची मार्केट कॅप 150 टाइम्स वाढली आणि आपली 10 टाइम्स वाढली. पण याचा अर्थ असाही होत नाही की HUL इज नॉट गुड. HUL इज डेफिनेटली गुड. आय एम व्हेरी हॅपी विथ HUL. आय एम हॅपी विथ इट्स डिव्हिडंड ऑल्सो. आणि दुसरं म्हणजे मला सांगायचं आहे की आतापर्यंत लास्ट 2 इयर्स पर्यंत मला कधीही टॅक्स भरावा लागला नव्हता. अँड लास्ट 2 इयर्स आय हॅव टू पे dividend because of the dividend tax more than 1 lakh rupee as a tax and I'm happy. I don't have any objection. सर हे बघून तुम्ही आणि लोक म्हणतात की राईट हे बोनस द्या. आय एम नॉट, बोनस शेअरमुळे काही फारसा फरक पडत नाही. पण डेफिनेटली माझं ऑब्झर्वेशन इज इन करोना पिरियड मध्ये पहिलं इज द रिलायन्स विच हॅज गिव्हन राईट इश्यू अँड बिकॉज ऑफ द राईट इश्यू पीपल हॅव मेड मनी अपार्ट फ्रॉम द डिव्हिडंड. सो आय लुक फॉर दिस की आपण पैशाची पण आपल्याला काही ठिकाणी नवीन प्रोजेक्ट करता किंवा कशा करता. आणि अर्थात इट इज अ डेट फ्री कंपनी, कॅश इज नॉट ए प्रॉब्लेम. डेफिनेटली आय फील दॅट राईट इश्यू असणं आवश्यक आहे की त्याच्यामुळे लोकांनाही फायदा होतो. आणि राईट इश्यू मध्ये आज 75% किंवा पर्सेंट जर प्रमोटर हिंदुस्तान लिव्हर होत असेल तर यू शुड ब्रिंग अ राईट इश्यू विदाउट HUL contribution. That also if you can do it, I will be very happy, sir. आणि बाकी काही सांगण्यासारखं काही नाही आहे. आणि आय एम रिअली हॅपी दॅट यू कम बॅक ॲज अ चेअरमन इन द कंपनी. थँक्यू व्हेरी मच. अँड माझी एक ईमेल पण आहे, त्याच्यात मी काही सर्टन पॉईंट्स दिलेले आहेत आणि त्याच्यामध्ये की ज्या गोष्टी हिंदुस्तान लिव्हरचा परफॉर्मन्स सांगत नाही किंवा ज्या निगेटिव्ह असतात अशी इन्फॉर्मेशन आपण बॅलन्स शीट मध्ये ठेवू नये एवढीच माझी रिक्वेस्ट आहे. त्याचं मुख्य कारण काय की हिंदुस्तान लिव्हर इज डुईंग वेल, पण ते वाचल्यानंतर असं दिसतं की हिंदुस्तान लिव्हर इज नॉट डुईंग वेल. सो माझं म्हणणं असं आहे की अशी इन्फॉर्मेशन आपल्या बॅलन्स शीट मधून आपण डिलीट केली तर फार चांगलं होईल. आणि थँक्यू व्हेरी मच. अँड मला या सगळ्यांचं कोऑपरेशन चांगलं मिळालं त्यामुळे मी बोलू शकलो. थँक्यू व्हेरी मच सर.
Thank you, Mr. Shah. Can we now have Mr. Yusuf Rangwala, please?
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Rangwala. You're now live in the meeting.
Yeah, good evening, sir. I am speaking Mumbai, city of Mumbai, sir. My sir, first welcome our dynamic sir Nitin Karkare sir. Who Nitin sir, who is a very handsome. और आपका बैलेंस शीट में सर आपका चेहरा एक छोटा सा शेयर पेश करना चाहता हूँ. आपका फोटो तो आपकी स्माइल देख के मुझे सर बहुत खुशी हुई. ऐसा लगता है कि जैसा अपना चांद शर्माता है, चांद अपनी चांदनी से शर्माते ऐसे आपकी खुशी आपकी ऐसे हंसी है सर. चांद भी आपके हंसी देख के शर्मा जाए. और सर अभी डायरेक्ट मैं बैलेंस शीट पे आऊंगा. अपना टर्नओवर 50.33 करोड़ का टर्नओवर, प्रॉफिट ऑफ 88.81 करोड़ सर. और जानना चाहता हूँ ये अपना टूथपेस्ट सर हमारे घर में सर मैं आपका इंडुलेका का प्रोडक्ट में यूज करता हूँ. अपना मेरा हेयर गया था लेकिन इंडुलेका प्रोडक्ट और शैम्पू यूज करने के बाद आई एम वेरी हैप्पी विद द टू प्रोडक्ट. सर ऐसा नया प्रोडक्ट आप क्या इंट्रोड्यूस करना चाहते हैं? और सर अपना ब्रू जो कॉफी अपना साउथ में सर वन ऑफ द लीडर है सर. नो बडी कैन बीट इन साउथ सर. ब्रू कॉफी सर नेक्स्ट कॉफी को टक्कर देता है. और सर अपना प्रोडक्ट जैसे अपना आपका प्रोडक्ट सर लाजवाब है. जैसे अपना विम और अपना यू कैन से हॉर्लिक्स, टमाटो केचप, किसान का सॉस और अपना यू कैन से so many ample of products. मेरा इतना दो पेज पे आपको पेज नंबर 6 और 7 पे आपने सर दिया है सर. इतना जान के मुझे खुशी हुआ सर. मैं अपना प्रीवियस स्पीकर को ज्वाइन करता हूँ. अगर हो सके तो आप हमें डिस्काउंट कूपन भेजिए 30%. और सर आपका छोटा सा हम्बल रिक्वेस्ट है क्योंकि अपना मार्केट में अपना जैसा सॉस का जैसा हिंदुस्तान लीवर है, जैसा अपना मैगी है, मैगी वाला इफ यू परचेज गुड प्रोडक्ट ऐसा अपना भी कोई है सर. सो दैट विल हेल्प आवर कंपनी. इट इज माय सजेशन. जैसे अपना सूप पे भी 1:1 निकालिए. जैसे टमाटो सूप है, जैसा नोर का सूप है सर. नोर का सूप इतना हमारे घर पे एवरीडे हम लोग यूज करते हैं लेकिन अपना रेट सर बहुत हो गया. एक पैकेट का कीमत
Mr. Rangwala, your voice is breaking. We are not able to hear you properly, please.
Hello. रिक्वेस्ट सर. सो क्या हमारा बिजनेस भी होएगा सर. वी विल बेनिफिट सर. सर लास्ट बोनस आपने कब दिया था? अभी सर इतना अच्छा प्रॉफिट है अपने पास. इतना अच्छा मैं आपको बताया सर. प्रॉफिट इतना अच्छा बुक वैल्यू में अपनी बैलेंस शीट आपने बनाई है 320 सर. बैलेंस शीट बनाई सर. इसके बारे में मेरे नहीं है सर. रामदेव आप सर मैं डेली क्लोजर भी आपका यूज करता हूँ. और क्लोजर पेप्सोडेंट ये सब जितने आपके प्रोडक्ट है पेप्सोडेंट और क्लोजर में नया एक ग्रीन है. तो कौन सा वेराइटी लाना चाहते हैं सर ये जानना चाहता हूँ. तो फुल सपोर्ट है. और अपने आपके शेयर डिपार्टमेंट का सर सेफ सर उनकी टीम और अपने जितने लोग है सबको मैं धन्यवाद देता हूँ सर. उनकी सर्विस का जवाब मेरा फुल सपोर्ट है. मैं आपका सब फुल सपोर्ट किया सर. अपना आपको आने वाले सब रिजोल्यूशन और सब मेरी तरफ से सर बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं सर. हो सकता है नेक्स्ट सर आपका एग्जांपल केशवराव जो कलकत्ता की कंपनी है
Mr. Rangwala, your line is not so clear. We've not been able to hear you. May I suggest that you send us a mail if I've not been able to capture your questions and I'm not able to address them now. We will deal with it when you send a mail across. If you're through, then may I ask Mr. Manish Shah? Mr. Rangwala,
Mr. Manish Shah.
Yeah, or Mr. Manish Shah now.
सर आवाज आ रही है सर?
हाँ बिल्कुल आ रही है.
Yeah. Dear Chairman sir, Mr. Nitin Paranjpe ji, CEO and Managing Director Mr. Sanjeev Mehta ji, Director on the board, fellow shareholder and our present virtual meeting. Sir, अपनी प्रोडक्ट है ब्यूटीफुल, सही मायने में है यूजफुल. इंडिया हो या ओवरसीज, our product are powerful. Lot of range and variety, it's colorful. क्वालिटी कंट्रोल के लिए है सदा केयरफुल. वर्क कर रही है कंपनी वंडरफुल. मैनेजमेंट एंड एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन सबसे लिए है हेल्पफुल. शेयर होल्डर के लिए आप है फेथफुल. द रिलेशन बिटवीन कंपनी एंड शेयर होल्डर आर चीयरफुल. वी ऑन प्रोडक्ट विच आर पर्पसफुल. चेयरमैन सर, मैनेजमेंट काम करते हैं हमेशा थॉटफुल और हम यही है प्रार्थना करते हैं आप सदा बने सक्सेसफुल और हमारा और आपका रिश्ता बने तंदुरुस्त और हेल्पफुल. We wish all the best, Mr. Nitin sir, our chairman, and we are certain that our company will reach more heights and become the #1 company in the world. Mr. Sanjeev sir, सर खरीद सकते हैं हम अपनी जिंदगी देकर खरीद लेते हैं, पर कुछ लोग कीमत से नहीं किस्मत से मिला करते हैं. HUL is proud, only and proud, to have Sanjeev Mehta under whose leadership market cap has increased from 1 lakh crore to 5 lakh crore. Thank you, sir, for all your contribution. Thank you, Dev Bhatpai ji, Saif sir, Milin ji, Uma ji, and team for tremendous support and extended. And sir, I want to vote of thanks if you permit after the meeting end. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Shah. May we now have Mr. Harshad Savani.
Good evening, Mr. Savani. Your mic has been unmuted. You can now start speaking.
Sir, congratulations for achieving highest turnover of 50,335 crores.
Could you speak a little louder, please?
Hello.
Hello. Yes, we can hear you. If it's possible to speak a little louder.
Yeah. Sir, 2 years ago, we were compelled to change our product name Fair and Lovely to Glow and Lovely. I want to know how much is the impact in profitability and turnover of this product. In the current year, since last few months, edible oil prices and commodity prices have been increased very high. Edible oil prices plays very important role in the manufacture of soaps. How this issue will be affect on our profitability factors of soaps, as the revenue of major share is from this product. What is our company has introduced new products in the current year and in the pipeline. Sir, it is my request that you send samples for new products introduced during the year to the shareholders so that they can come to know that their company is manufacturing this product. Because senior citizens can't go to the mall and see what are the new products has come. So it will be very easy for them to understand and use the product of their company and purchase in future. Sir, now coming to the unclaimed dividend, page 107. Sir, we have transferred 12 crores 11 lakhs to the unclaimed dividend account. Sir, this amount is very high and our share, many companies do not have even a profit of this amount which we have transferred to this IPF. So this is my request that our company should send along with the dividend warrant that this amount has remained unclaimed, so kindly claim your dividend. I received this type of notice after 7 years, before 7 years, means last year only. So it became very difficult for me to claim this dividend. Now coming to share price. Sir, share price, we are least concerned about the share price, but if our profitability will increase and earning per share and dividend will increase, it will automatically increase the share price. Sir, there is my request that we have not given 10 years financial data in this annual report. This is one of the reasons why our share price has gone down. Because last year we paid 40 rupees 50 paisa as dividend. That was included 9.50 as special dividend, which many shareholders doesn't know. They think that last year it was declared 45.50 and now this year we have declared 34 rupees. So company has declared less dividend, but the case was different, sir. So if you will give in the financial highlight details, every shareholder will come to know, and analyst also they will also come to know. So the share price won't affect like this. Sir, it has been noted that most of the companies find difficulty to receive good business from rural areas. FMCG company I am talking about. What will the effect on our company? Because now rural area are not doing well. So kindly give the information. Sir, regarding page 50, sir, our foreign exchange outgoing is 3,131 crores and foreign exchange earning is 15.27 crores. Sir, rupee is becoming weaker and weaker. Today it was 78.38 paisa. So, sir, I want to know how it will affect this foreign exchange outgoing. Sir, this is also one of the reasons why our share price is going down, sir. Sir, now coming on page 180, freight. The previous year our freight expense was 1,674 crores. It has gone up to 1,801 crores, which is higher by 7.5%. In this current year, crude price has gone up substantially. What will be the impact on our profitability, sir? Because crude price is going up and up day by day. Now coming on page 136, sundry debtors. Previous year it was 1,648 crores, has gone up to 1,932 crores, which is higher by 20% and needs to be controlled for better profitability. Further, last year we have written off 74 crores as bad debts. Do we sell goods on credit, sir? And what are the steps initiated to recover? Sir, page 136, inventories, sir. Previous year, rupees 3,383 crores. and current year it is 3,890 crores, has been increased by 15%, which while our turnover has been increased by 11%. So sir, we require to be control this. Sir, lastly, one shareholder suggested that we should give right issue. Sir, I don't agree with this because our company is debt-free company and we don't borrow. By increasing this, our share capital will increase and the profitability of the company will decrease because equity base will increase. So I also suggest that we should issue bonus share because now there is no scope of splitting or anything. This is only one way of giving the benefits to the shareholders. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Savani. Can we now have Mr. Aspi Bhesania?
No, Mr. Besania, you are now live in the meeting. And start your camera and start speaking.
Mr. Besania?
Sir, can you see me and hear me?
We can hear you and now we can see you.
Okay. Because I can't see myself. Okay, now I can see. So I congratulate the management on very good results in spite of so much hurdles put by COVID and all. So I welcome Ms. Ashu Suyash and I hope she will contribute to the company very well. The last 3 pieces of 150 gram was available for 93 rupees after discount on JioMart. And within 2-3 months, the price went to 120. Is there so much inflation? The government is just showing 5% inflation and you're increasing the price by more than 20%. So please comment on that, whether the inflation is more or you are raising the price more. So then, as mentioned by one of my predecessors, the unpaid dividend of 12 crores has been transferred to IEPF. So I would request that in the next annual report, you please give the unpaid dividend that is there for last 7 years. Like for instance, was 2017-18. You're showing 2017-18, so much was unclaimed. Then in 18-19, so much. 19-20, so much. 20-21, so much. That we can judge the efficiency of our transfer agent and also of the share department. Because unnecessarily 12 crores are getting transferred to the government for nothing. It's the shareholders' money. And normally the RTA just sends a reminder. And when you try to claim the amount, they put so much hurdles that we just don't want to claim that amount. So this will show the performance of the RTA. And then if that is the case, you take the RTA with yourself. Because now there are only 2 RTAs left. You can't leave one and go to another because both are equally good. So then again, physical shares are 2.55 crores. So why don't you do a selective buyback of only physical shares? So you will not have a single physical share after that. So then page 109, BSE and NSE versus HUL price. So HUL price is lagging the Sensex and the Nifty. So why? When it's doing so well. So thank you and all the best. And please ensure that you give some time to Mr. Dev Bajpai for the shareholders. He is very busy. And one thing more about this reverse osmosis RO filters. Do you make this? And if yes, what is our total dissolved solids, TDS, for our filters? If it is less than 500, it is banned in Delhi. So what are we doing about that? So thank you very much and all the best.
Thank you, Mr. Besania. Can we now have Mr. Alok Kumar Pal?
Good afternoon, Mr. Alok Pal. You're now made live in the meeting. You can switch on your camera and start speaking.
Audible? Anega? My voice is audible?
Yes, it is.
Hello? Audible?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Myself, B.K. Pal from Calcutta. First, I express my sincere gratitude to our Secretariat Department for excellent and remarkable investor service. Really, their act is truly praiseworthy. I also congratulate our board of directors for stellar performance of your company and higher dividend. Now I have some specific question. Number one, do you think the company is capital efficient? Number two, how would you define the future that Hindustan Unilever beholds? Third, what is the strategic step to achieve the targeted growth? Number four, how important is your human capital in your aspiration to take the company to greater heights? Fifth, what is the next phase of organizational development for our company? Sixth, how are you reducing your environment footprint? Now, sir, seventh, what is your capex plan for modernization, expansion, and diversification? Are you get all type of ISO certification for running the factories? And what are the expenses for following head? Cost audit fee, secretarial audit fee, AGM and related expenses, and fee for register and transfer share agent. Thank you for patient hearing. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Pal. Now can we have Mrs. Celestine Mascarenhas?
Good afternoon, Mrs. Mascarenhas. You are now live in the meeting. We have unmuted your mic.
Hello? 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 Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hello? Yeah, thank you so much. Respected Chairman, Mr. Nitin Paranjpe, other members of in the board, virtual, my fellow shareholders who are attending virtually. I am speaking from Mumbai, Mrs. C. Mascarenhas. First of all, I thank the company secretary, Mr. Dev Bajpai and his team for sending me e-annual report and also registering me as a speaker at my request and also giving me a lot of help on joining this online meeting and also reminding me. I thank the secretarial team very much. Now, the annual report is very good and informative, adhering to all the norms of corporate governance. Our working is definitely good, considering the difficult economic conditions, and a dividend, at least to me, a dividend of 34 is definitely good, and market cap also not that bad. It is very good. It is above, always above 2000. And what is more is the capex is definitely good. Now I come to congratulating you for all the awards and accolades received during the year. I also appreciate the CSR work done by our company and staff. Keep it up. My question follows from that CSR. Have we got also ESG rating? If so, what rating we have? Now my queries, sir. Number one, do we face supply chain bottlenecks, especially in wheat? How much has the rising oil prices affected our margin? Number two, we have three divisions: home care, beauty and personal care, foods and others. Where do we have good margins? In which product or products our market share is the highest? We are number one in those product or products. Number three, what is the capex for the next 3 years, and especially especially in organic and inorganic growth in the background of geopolitical issues? Many predecessor shareholders have asked many questions, so I limit my questions. I thank you for giving me this platform to speak, and I wish HUL and the team very good health, and may our company grow from strength to strength. Now, Mr. Mascarenhas, he is also registered. He will speak.
All right, let's have Mr. Mascarenhas.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello, can I speak, sir?
Yes, we can hear
Can
you.
I? Yeah. Respected Chairman, sir, very distinguished members of the board, and my fellow shareholders. Good evening to you all. My name is Aloysius Mascarenhas. At the outset, I thank the management, our company secretary, and the team for sending me the e-balance sheet, which I received on time. It is exhaustive, transparent, and above all adhering to all the parameters required for a good corporate governance. Our results are excellent as shown on facts and figures and diagrams and pictures. More so, we have got a very good handsome dividend. So, sir, when we can expect a bonus? I don't know when the last bonus was declared by our company. How many years have passed? We are looking forward. We have got a good market cap. Our shares are moving up day by day. Sir, here I would like to know who are our main competitors, both nationally and internationally, and what is our market share, both nationally and internationally. I would also like to know how many new products we have launched this year and how many new products we are going to launch in this and coming years. Sir, I would be very happy if some samples are shown, are given to the shareholders like me for a feedback. It would be a good to the company as an advertisement and good to the customer, to the shareholders also to know more about the company. Sir, about this rupee dollar fluctuation, I would like to know because our rupee depreciates day after day and the dollar appreciates. Ours being an export-oriented company, we are benefited when we are paid in dollar terms. So I would like to know the fluctuation and are we hedging it and how it has beneficial to our profitability. And mostly now we are in an economic crisis and worldwide crisis with the scenario which is happening. Ukraine war and Russia, how it has affected us. And here also I would like to know about whether we have any trade relationship with China, whether we import material from China or export to China. Sir, many questions have been asked by my predecessor shareholders. Here I would like to be brief and stop my speech, wishing you personally, all the board members, and more importantly, all the employees, all the very best in the days and years to come. With this, sir, thank you very much for patient hearing. Hopefully, we will have a physical meeting next year. With this, sir, thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mascarenhas. Can we now have Mr. Dinesh Amritpal Kotecha?
Mr. Dinesh Kotecha is not joining. We have got a message, so we can go ahead with the next speaker, please.
All right. Can we now have Mr. Ashit Kumar Pathak?
So Mr. Ashit Kumar Pathak has also been dropped. We'll wait for him. Meanwhile, we'll go ahead with the next speaker.
Can we now have Mr. Manjeet Singh? Mr. Manjeet Singh?
Mr. Manjeet Singh, good afternoon. You are now live in the meeting. You can go ahead and speak.
Hello, am I audible? Ji?
Yes, you are audible.
हिंदुस्तान यूनिलीवर के सभी डायरेक्टर, शेयर होल्डर, चेयरपर्सन और एम्प्लॉई जहां भी जो काम कर रहे हैं और आपके सेक्रेटरी डिपार्टमेंट, रजिस्ट्रार, सभी का मैं स्वागत करता हूं और कामना करता हूं कि सभी स्वस्थ रहे। हिंदुस्तान यूनिलीवर इंडिया के अंदर बहुत काफी पहले के समय से चलती आ रही है। 1933 में इसका बर्थ हुआ यहाँ इंडिया के अंदर, और अब करीब 90 साल पूरे होने जा रहे हैं। आपकी प्रोडक्ट की रेंज, वैरायटी का कोई अंत ही नहीं है। आपने जो है साबुन, तेल, शैम्पू, हर तरह के प्रोडक्ट में आप चल रहे हैं। R&D में आप आने वाले टाइम में इंसेक्टिसाइड के जो प्रोडक्ट हैं वो हमारी कंपनी कुछ नहीं बनाती, तो क्या उस तरफ आप कोई ध्यान करेंगे? R&D में इंसेक्टिसाइड की जो सारी सेल है आपकी कंपटीटर कंपनी गोदरेज इंडस्ट्री के पास ही जाती है, तो आप इस तरफ को गौर करेंगे? आप ओरल में जो है टूथपेस्ट में आपका होल्ड है, लेकिन टूथब्रश आपने शायद दूसरी कंपटीशन कंपनियों के लिए छोड़ रखे हैं, उस तरफ आप ध्यान करेंगे कोई टूथब्रश की तरफ? एक मार्केट में आजकल ग्रोथ जो है हेयर कलर की बहुत है, और हमारी कंपटीटर कंपनियां उस तरफ ध्यान कर रही हैं, और हेयर कलर की तरफ आप ध्यान नहीं दे रहे। आप R&D में इस तरफ ध्यान करेंगे, या आपने कुछ प्रोडक्ट छोड़ रखे हैं दूसरी कंपनियों के लिए, उनमें आप नहीं आना चाहते क्योंकि आप फोकस नहीं कर पाते? आपके प्रोडक्ट कितने हैं, आने वाले टाइम में कुछ अगर आप डीमर्जर वगैरह करेंगे, इसका प्लान पीछे ITC ने भी करा था, तो हमारी कंपनी का इसमें कोई प्रावधान है कि इतने हमारे प्रोडक्ट हैं तो हम कुछ फोकस इनको कुछ अलग कर भी शेयर होल्डर को कुछ फायदा कराएं, और कुछ लीवर के जो हैं अलग अलग रेंज बने तो ज़्यादा अच्छा रहेगा। इससे हमारी कंपनी को आने वाले टाइम में फायदा ही रहेगा। हमारा रजिस्टर्ड ऑफिस बॉम्बे में है, बड़ी अच्छी बात है जी। मुंबई इंडियन की तरफ से खेलते हुए रोहित शर्मा तो रन नहीं बना पाते, लेकिन जो हमारा लक्ष्य है 125 ग्राम का सेट, पिछले साल जून के अंदर जिसका रेट 110 रुपये MRP था, वो करीब 150 रुपये को भी ऊपर पहुंच चुका है। 155 रुपये MRP अभी जून 2022 के अंदर आपने नया लाए हो। इतनी कौन सी महंगाई हो रही है कि जो अपने आप प्रोडक्ट के रेट बढ़ाई जा रहे हो? एक जो रुपया होता है उसको उठाओ तो उसके ऊपर लिखा होता है कि मैं धारक को 200 रुपये अदा करने का वचन देता हूँ। वो जो प्रोडक्ट आपका जो पहले 100 रुपये में आया था अब 200 रुपये की तरफ चल दिया है। थोड़ा महंगाई का आप ध्यान करिए। जो आपके जो कच्चे प्रोडक्ट हैं जो आप यूज करते हो, पेट्रोकेमिकल वगैरह, उनके रेट काफी हाई गए थे पीछे, उसके बाद उनमें कमी भी आई है, लेकिन जो हमारे प्रोडक्ट हैं उनके रेट घटने पर ही नहीं आ रहे। आप इस तरफ जरूर गौर करिए। और हमारी जो सब्सिडी कंपनियां हैं, लैक्मी कॉस्मेटिक्स, क्वालिटी वाल्स, ये हिंदुस्तान यूनिलीवर की एक और दिखाई है आपने सब्सिडी, और एक यूनिलीवर एक और भी आपने दिखाई है अपने फाउंडेशन के नाम से, और हिंदुस्तान यूनिलीवर का एक और भी आपने दिखाया है। तो ये हमारे फायदे में कुछ सहयोग करती हैं या हमारे कुछ नुकसान को ही बढ़ावा देती हैं? आप थोड़ा इस तरफ जरूर गौर करिएगा। लैक्मिक कॉस्मेटिक के 584 प्रोडक्ट हैं आपके, और फिर भी कंपनी फायदा नहीं दे पाती हमें। 1998 से जब से आपने एक्वायर किया टाटा से इसे 1998 के बाद ये कंपनी हमें फायदा दे रही है नहीं? आप थोड़ा इस बारे में बताइए। और अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट का जो पौधा हमारे देश में बढ़ता ही जा रहा है, ये जो सब्सिडी कंपनियों में आपके ट्रैक्टर क्या सिमिलर ही होते हैं? बाकी कंपनियों में भी वही होते हैं? वैसे आप वन रैंक वन मैन का पोजीशन रखें तो ज़्यादा अच्छा रहेगा। सिमिलर ट्रैक्टर नहीं होने चाहिए कंपनियों में। लैक्मी फ्रेंच वर्ड है, उसका जो है मीन्स हिंदी के अंदर लक्ष्मी बनता है। तो जैसे दिवाली से पहले एक त्योहार आता है धन लक्ष्मी, अपना धनतेरस का, उस दिन लक्ष्मी वाले प्रोडक्ट को काफ़ी लोग ध्यान करते हैं और जो है नया बर्तन भी खरीदते हैं। तो जो है हमारी ये जो लैक्मी की किट है, इसको हम धनतेरस वाले दिन कुछ ज़्यादा प्रमोट करके आने वाले टाइम में एक त्योहार की तरफ, एक जलसा मनाने की तरफ हम अग्रसर हो सकते हैं क्या इस बारे में? क्योंकि एक ट्रेंड शुरू करना होता है, उसके रिजल्ट 5-10 साल में आने शुरू हो जाते हैं। और दिवाली से पहले जो धनतेरस आता है, तो उस दिन ये हम लैक्मी की जो किट वगैरह कुछ स्पेशल ऑफर वगैरह में वो प्रमोट करके अगर बेचना शुरू करें तो एक एक तरह से त्योहार में हमारा भी सहयोग हो जाएगा। बाकी इतनी दूर बैठकर आपके जो मीडिएटर हैं, कंपनी सेक्रेटरी डिपार्टमेंट, मॉडरेटर, उन्होंने इतना सहयोग दिया है, जो हम आपसे जुड़ पाए हैं और बोल पाए हैं। आने वाले टाइम में हम चाहेंगे कि हिंदुस्तान यूनिलीवर और तरक्की करे। थैंक यू।
Thank you, Manjeet ji. Can we now have Mr. Dinesh Gopaldas Bhatia?
Good evening, Mr. Bhatia. You're now live in the meeting. You can switch on your camera.
मेरा आवाज आ रहा है?
हाँ, आ रहा है आवाज।
हेलो, हाँ, मेरा आवाज सुनाई देता है?
सुनाई दे रहा है।
हेलो, मेरा वीडियो भी आ रहा है क्या सर?
नहीं आ रहा।
अच्छा, तो ठीक है, मैं विदाउट वीडियो, मैं फर्स्ट तो चेयरमैन श्री आपको और आपका पूरा टीम को कॉन्ग्रेचुलेशन कहूँगा कि ऐसा पेंडेमिक पीरियड में भी हमारी कंपनी ने 10% रेवेन्यू भी बढ़ाया है और 10% जो अपना EPS भी बढ़ा है, अच्छी बात है। और दूसरा, हमारी कंपनी ने जो पेज नंबर 14 में दिया है, काफ़ी अवार्ड भी मिला है, उसके लिए मैं वापस आपको, आपका पूरा टीम को कॉन्ग्रेचुलेशन कहूँगा कि अच्छी बात है। खाली मेरा एक ही चीज़ का आपको था कि मैंने काफ़ी टाइम से, भले आपका सेक्रेटरी डिपार्टमेंट बहुत अच्छी ट्रीटमेंट देते हैं, हमें अपडेट भी किया 2 दफ़े कि आप मीटिंग में आना, शेयर होल्डर के प्रति उनकी भावना अच्छी है, मिलिंद भाई ने जो है उनकी। पर अभी मैं खाली ये 3 साल से ईमेल से क्वायरी भेजता हूँ, मेरा पूरा जवाब नहीं मिल रहा है मेरा सवाल का। मैंने 12 तारीख को भेजा है, 12/6 को ईमेल से मेरा सवाल पूछे हैं, लेकिन कुछ अभी तक उसका रिप्लाई नहीं आया है। आप अभी क्या मीटिंग में उसका रिप्लाई देने वाले हैं कि क्या? बाकी तो मैं एक चीज का पूछूंगा कि हमारी इंटेंजिबल जो लायबिलिटी है, इंटेंजिबल एसेट सॉरी, वो काफी, जो 19-20 में 431 करोड़ थी, वो एसेट 20-21 में 45,000 करोड़, 10 गुने से भी ज्यादा बढ़ गई। और ये साल भी हमारी जो है 45,221 करोड़ की इंटेंजिबल लायबिलिटी अपना एसेट है। तो वो कौन सी एसेट है, थोड़ा उसके बारे में। और प्रॉपर्टी प्लांट एंड इक्विपमेंट, वो भी जो हमारा था वो लास्ट ईयर से करीब 300 करोड़ बढ़ा हुआ है, 305 करोड़। तो वो कौन सी हमारी प्रॉपर्टी प्लांट में हमारा इन्वेस्टमेंट हुआ है, उसके बारे में आप थोड़ा जानकारी देंगे। और एसेट हेल्थ फॉर सेल 165 पेज पे आपने दिया है कि हमारा AGM का रिपोर्ट में 165 पे एसेट हेल्थ फॉर सेल, लैंड 2 करोड़ का लैंड और 3 करोड़ का बिल्डिंग का, सॉरी 2 करोड़ का लैंड है, लास्ट ईयर 3 करोड़ का लैंड था। और बिल्डिंग ये 11 करोड़ का बिल्डिंग, लास्ट ईयर 14 करोड़ का बिल्डिंग था। तो वो कौन सा हेल्ड फॉर सेल, कौन सा प्रॉपर्टी है? और फॉरेन एक्सचेंज अर्निंग जो है हमारा, वो कितना है और आउटगोइंग कितना है? बाकी तो आप लोग जो काम कर रहे हैं, बहुत बढ़िया काम कर रहे हैं। हमें ऐसा बहुत गर्व होता है कि हम अच्छी बड़ी कंपनी का शेयर होल्डर है, जो टॉप 1 में नंबर 1 FMCG में हमारा नंबर 1 होएगा। तो ये हमें बहुत खुशी की बात है कि आप लोग ऐसा पीरियड में भी बहुत बढ़िया काम कर रहे हैं। तो मैं चाहता हूँ कि, और दूसरा लास्ट में मेरा एक सवाल था कि हम जो ये टमाटो सॉस बनाते हैं, तो हम फार्मर से परचेस करते हैं कि हमने खुद ने एग्रीकल्चर कुछ लैंड लेके रखा है जिसमें अपने फार्मर लोग इसके बारे में थोड़ा आप जानकारी देंगे। बाकी तो हर एक रिजोल्यूशन में मैं सपोर्ट देता हूँ। ऑल द बेस्ट। आपने जो बोलने का मौका दिया, थैंक यू। ऑल द बेस्ट।
Thank you. Can we now have Mr. Mahesh Kumar Bubna?
Mr. Mahesh Bubna, you're now live in the meeting.
Yes, can I able to hear? Can I audible?
Yes, yes, please.
Okay. First of all, I congratulate to the chairman of the meeting, Mr. Pranjpe, the company's MD, CEO, Mr. Mehta, and other dignitaries, other directors on the dais, our company secretary, Mr. Dev Bajpayee, as well as the CFO and other people on the dais to interact with the shareholders. And also thanks to the our secretarial team, particularly Madam Uma and Mr. Fez. I cannot able to remember his name. His other colleagues, they are very cooperative, very kind to the shareholders for their cooperation and their very much good association with the shareholders. I thank to all the secretarial team. And also I thanks to Mr. Our company secretary, Mr. Dev Bajpayee, that day before yesterday, he also spoken to me very nicely. And I, first of all, I am very much happy that our chairman is very good and listening patiently to all the shareholders' query without any obstruction. This is the best good corporate governance with the shareholders in a company. Our company is a group company of the Unilever USA. And it is a very number one FMCG company in India, having a large variety of products in India. And all these products are very, very valuable and important for any households for day-to-day life. So this is a very good. Since my childhood, I seen that this company having the product of dalda and surf. These are the core products. And we had seen the advertisement of Lalita ji and this dalda. We remember, still we remember. Sometimes in the Facebook, some people are posting some old advertisement of dalda and the surf. I am very much I am very much after seeing this old, I remember that this is a 90 years old company. Still, the glory of all the product in the market, and so I thanks to the management that they are working very hard. After my this knowledge come, I matured. I seen that 24 companies has been merged, acquired and merged. Dumduma, Tea State, Quality, Walls, Lipton, etc., etc. And I joined first time this Hindustan Lever AGM today. I am a Calcutta-based shareholder, but I am now for 2.5 years I am living in Bengaluru due to this pandemic season. So first of all, I want to highlight something. First, on the product side, I am coming. We having a series of different type of product, dishwash, fabric care, surf care, toilet cleaner, hair care, lot of these varieties having. But I want to remember some of the products which are very, very important was not shown in this chart. Maggi, the very lovely product of the child, Maggi, which was not here, I cannot able to find. And another one is Maggi pasta, that you had not shown over here. The Maggi has come in 2-3 times. I remember that 2-3 times it come in the litigation also. But this is cleared by our Supreme Court, and it is very good. Each and every child Without Maggie cannot be live. Even my daughter also cannot live without Maggie daily. So it is a very nice product for all the households. And one thing I want to say that Dalda is also not shown over here, which was the core product. Still it in the market. When I am going to the mall in this More and other Spar, I find that Dalda product is still continue, but you are not shown in this. That was our core product, which I cannot find over here. And one suggestion from my side that earlier in our childhood, one Rexona brand was very important in the market, and people like that Rexona brand. But one film actress advertisement we every time shown in the childhood for Rexona, but company cannot continue that brand. What is the reason behind it? And one thing that our MD CEO has highlighted in his speech that this Surf Excel is a very good brand. It is market has a very good response. Surf Excel is a very important in the this cloth cleaning market. So now this liquid Surf Excel are not available in the market. Company has discontinued this liquid soap. Liquid soap is much more easier and comfortable than the Surf Excel powder. So why this Surf Excel liquid has discontinued by the company? I would request to the board to start this Surf Excel liquid again. It is a very, and MD also, she also accepted it that Surf Excel is very important product. And when I was in the US, I used all the product of Hindustan Lever when I visited Walmart and other this $1 and etc. Malls, where in all our this variety, the main company Unilever in America, all products are very much popular, and we also used. And there we used the 5-liter jar of the liquid soap there. So that is for family pack is a very good, and the cost of the packing, marketing, etc. should also be saved, and the consumer will also be benefited by the bulk quantity in a large family. So we must have to start to the bulk quantity also for the large families, so that company will also be benefited and consumer will also be benefited. As my lot of shareholder has also suggested lot of this that the price increased, but inflation has not so much increased. I would say that if I did not go through the accounts side, just I seen the highlights of your director report, etc. That you had shown that our turnover has increased more than 50,000 crores. We had achieved 50,000 crore turnover. It is a very good sign for the company. But I would request to the board to give the roadmap of the 1 lakh crore turnover when targeted to achieve that turnover, because our company is a consumer product business, FMCG. So we can able to, if we will try. And in this highlight, I analyzing one thing, don't take in other ways, in 2 segments. The capital employed, core capital employed is 235 crores. If you see the turnover, it is 50,000 plus crores. So it is very high. If you, on the other segment, if you add the equity or equity with the other equity, means reserve and surplus, is 48,500 crores. If you add these both, it is about 50,000 crores. Our capital employed is 50,000 crores, and the turnover is also 50,000 crore. So it is equal to 1:1. I seen in the so many corporate this annual report that this consumer product and other this type of business having the turnover is more than 3-4 times of equity, total equity employed. So we must try to increase the turnover so that the macroeconomic will come. Our cost of production will also be reduced. Our profitability also increased, and we will have to get a proper bonus and dividend. Only the shareholders are interested for the higher dividend and higher bonuses. And one more thing, some shareholder highlighted about the this unpaid dividend transfer to IPF account. So I would request from the board that you transfer immediately to Karbi. Karbi is not investor friendly. I am mostly all company shareholder in India. And I know that Karbi is not giving proper services to the shareholders. Hyderabad head office is not investor friendly. They did not reply to the shareholders. They are not attending to the shareholders. I'm a Calcutta based shareholders, but nobody is responsible nowadays in Calcutta. In different company, I am facing challenges from Karbi. They did not know the law of land also. Britannia, my unpaid dividend, which I requested them to send me the validated warrant, they issued me the demand draft. Due to the pandemic, I came here in Bengaluru and my dividend warrant, demand draft issued instead of the dividend warrant after just before the this 7 years completion was unencashed. And what they done? They transferred the claim dividend warrant was transferred to the IPF account in January 2022. So this is the another case I am showing you that I sent my Bamalari share just before the time limit for dematerialization was. But 4 times they had harassed me and returned my share certificate. Still, after 4 years, they did not returning me. And the Sanjay Pagar from the Karbi, Hyderabad, writing me to give me the indemnity bond, ask for the duplicate share certificate, give all the your this ISR1, ISR2, SH, this lot of formalities I have to done. Out of 6 years, 2 years is lying with my house. 4th year I sent for transfer, but they are saying 6 years for duplication. Why duplication? No, you see lot of now our product I am coming. I'm just for register problem I am telling you. Now TSR Dara come under the link in time. So better you transfer the business to TSR Dara.
Thank you, Mr.
Just a minute. I think so many questions are there. You had shown in the highlight the other liabilities on page number 15. If you go to page number 137, there are 2 segments of liabilities. One is the fixed liability and one is the current liability. If you add both these liabilities, it comes to 20,977 crore. While in the highlight, it is 20,009. Sorry, it is telling. But one thing tell me that current liability cannot be considered because it is a current liability. And you have to only show the fixed liability. So this may be a mistake as far as my view is concerned. And there is a lot of subsidiary you had shown. So I would suggest to amalgamate the subsidiary which are in the Indian operation so that we can able to save lot of this expenditure on the running the subsidiaries, this tax benefit, lot of other money. And one thing I find in the cash flow statement that this company's cash flow from the operating of activity is more or less same in comparison to last year. So it is very low as compared to our total fund employed and turnover we have achieved. So better you have to increase this cash flow from operating activity, then the working capital will also be increased, and we can able to achieve better turnover, better achievement, better profitability. And one thing more I want to highlight that other shareholder also.
Specific question about.
You see, first time I am joining this Hindustan Lever, I am very old shareholder. Brookbone Lipton, that 96, that time I attended the meeting, merger meeting also. 5th May 1996, I attended last meeting in the Brookbone Lipton. Thereafter, first time I am joining this Hindustan Lever meeting. I am a very old shareholder. I having the Hindustan Lever share since beginning. Even Lipton share I having, which was merged, Brookbone share, that are also merged. I am not in, first time I am joining this meeting on this video conferencing. You had patiently listened every shareholder, but why you are obstructing my sentiment? I have not gone through. I am very much sick. Day before yesterday, I having the heavy breathing trouble. Uma knows me very well. She contacted me. That time I cannot able to speak to her. I having lot of heavy problem. I having enlarged thyroid, I having enlarged prostate, I having enlarged this hernia, I having the high pressure, I having the sinus, I having the skin, lot of. One thing I want to highlight that due to the COVID, it will run for so many years. So for this COVID season, it is advised by the Ministry of Ayush that you have to wash hands to protect from the COVID. So our we having also the skincare and etc. All these product having soaps also. So why you have not started any new product for the COVID to protect from the COVID this touch from the skin or any COVID products? Why you had not launched within this 2.5 years of this pandemic? And it will continue. Now again, COVID is now spreading all over the world. In India also it started. And it is coming with this monkeypox also. Monkeypox is started from the hands. So we must have to start this COVID, this soaps and face wash so that we can protect our this COVID from the spread out. So this is, I will not take much more time because I am not well and I cannot able to go through. If I will speak legally with all these accounts, I can continue for 7 days. This is my challenge. And you people knows very well, due to this merger time, I having great fight. 2 days corporate meeting, AGM and this, I arranged to run. You know better than me, my name. Never I come after that day. So I thanks to the chairman, all the directors, company secretary, and one thing, my request, to send some products to the shareholder who are the speaker, mainly like me. I'm a legal person up to the level of High Court. For 50 years, I'm in the company law practitioner.
Thank you. Thank
for
you.
last 50 years.
Mr. Bubna, appreciate your sentiment. May I now request Ms. Hutokshi Patel, and like I said, we'd love to hear your questions. I want all of those questions to come up, but if you can be brief, it will just allow me to have the opportunity to respond to everyone, and I want to be respectful of everyone's time.
Good evening, Ms. Patel. You are now live in the meeting. You can go ahead and speak.
Hello.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Hello? Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yeah, good evening, sir. respected Chairman, Mr. Nitin Paranjpe, our CEO, Sir, Mr. Sanjeev Mehta, sir, the other respected directors on the board, our Executive Director, Company Secretary, Mr. Dev Bajpai, and our finance man. I am very much grateful to all of you. The results of HUL has been very grateful. Very good, excellent. I would like to here add a name of Mr. Milind from your secretarial department. This man has been extremely very helpful every time. Even if he in the lunchtime also, if we tell him, हाँ हंस के बोलेगा कि मैडम मैं खाना खा रहा हूँ आ जाओ खाने पे, even then he will get up from his seat and he will do the work. I have never seen an employee for so many years in such a big company and working so hard. But really, he deserves very good promotion, indeed. I really appreciate this man. I don't know him. He is not related to me. He has not done any special favors to me, but he has definitely gone out of his way. Whenever I wanted, I have troubled him much. I'm very thankful to you, Milind. Now, coming back to the, otherwise, all other people will start firing me for wasting that time. Anyway, first, I would like to draw the attention of Mr. Our chairman, Mr. Nitin Paranjpe, non-executive director. I'm very happy to have a Maharashtrian on the board. First time in Bombay, in Maharashtra, a company has a Maharashtrian director. In my lifetime, I have seen for the first time, maybe there may be, but I have seen, and I congratulate you, Mr. Paranjpe, and hope that you will continue with this. Not that we were not satisfied with Mr. Sanjeev Mehta, very dashing and very, very capable man also, but good to have you in Maharashtra, in Bombay. Anyway, now coming back to the point, I also have come to know that we have, not in India, but on the board abroad, Labour's board abroad, Mr. Nelson Pells has come on the board. He is also a very, very enterprising man, though very old. This is the 89th AGM, and the board of directors, my management team has given us a good dividend of 34 rupees. I congratulate all the employees of HUL for winning various awards and accolades that you all have mentioned on page 14 of your annual report. Your CSR activities have been very excellent. Though 184.43 at the stipulated amount, but you have gone out and spent much more than that, 185.73. It's really very good. A company like HUL is doing CSR activities. Sir, on page 22 of your balance sheet, just 1 minute, I'll take out. We have this other expenses on page 222, P&L statement. And correspondingly, the 268 page, it says wherein the other expenses which has come out. So there it is mentioned as miscellaneous expenses, which is a little much higher than that of the last year, if little control is kept in that. Also, the traveling expense also need to be little curtailed if possible. The car expense, the traveling expense as such. CSR activities expense has also gone a little higher. Anyway, the company is doing very well. I'm very happy with the various products that HUL has. Only one more little grudge I have is, so many innumerable products you all have, but whenever I go to a big mall also, I don't get the products. Why our products are not available? Why we are not flooding and flushing our products in the market? Why I am not getting secretarial department को मैं ring और उन लोग को trouble करती हूँ. Then they ring up the marketing sales department. Let marketing sales department be approachable and available let your representative be in the big malls, at least on Saturday, Sundays, when there is a heavy rush in the big malls, when your products, various products, so lovely products you'll have. I humbly request you, please, I draw your attention, the management team and also the directors, to draw your attention for this and see that our sales will still rise, will still be more, and we will be flourishing as far as our products are concerned. Thank you. I wish all the people who have worked very hard, your employees in the COVID times, really good, well done job you all have done. Wish you all the best. Good luck to you all. Thank you very much. And sir, the physical meeting is not possible because every year at the last moment MCA is coming out with the order of making OAVC. Physical meeting is not possible, but at least you all give us some coupons, something, some that we also are happy, na? Where we go to buy the in other this, we are getting so many coupons and everything we are getting. Why if HUL is so very conjure, so very stingy? Make yourself available and approachable. Come out to the public, meet the public. Don't be very tight departmental wise. That's what I've been telling all the companies. Like if we are shareholders, we have to talk only with the secretariat department. It is not fair like that. Nah? It means that I've committed a sin by buying the shares of HUL, that I cannot talk to the marketing department. Don't have that rigid wall-to-wall, tight wall departmental wise attitude. Let all the people, all the departments be approachable and available. Thank you very much. All the best to you all, and all the best to all the employees who have worked very hard. Good luck to you all.
Thank you, Ms. Patel. Can we now have Ms. Swagata Mondal?
Ms. Swagata Mandal has not joined. We have Mr. Ashit Kumar Pathak who got dropped off, so we can call him, invite him now.
Right. Lovely. Can we have Mr. Ashit Kumar Pathak?
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, you are.
Yes. Good afternoon, respected Chairman, Mr. Nitin Paranjape, CEO and MD, Mr. Sanjeev Mehta, CFO, Mr. Ritesh Tiwari, and Board of Directors, Company Secretary, fellow members joining at 89th AGM of Hindustan Unilever Limited. My name is Ashit Kumar Pathak, joining from Damdam, Kolkata. At first, my esteemed gratitude to Executive Director, Legal and Corporate Affairs, and Company Secretary, Mr. Dev Bajpai, and Secretarial Department for sending me the notice of the AGM and hard copy of the annual report very well in advance by speed post. And allow me to speak for sharing of my views. Sir, I have already emailed some of views, and few I like to share. Also, many thanks to Mr. Satish and Mrs. Uma Rajagapalan for nicely conducting the site verification to speaker members. Also, my thanks to NSDL and CDSL, the excellent delivery from respected chairman. I have noted very important point like MSME has growth economy, skill competitive labors, and also businesses. India is very big role, also serving tomorrow, and Shekhar B2B, sustainable business, zero emission, plastic neutral, cumulative water protection, 1.9 trillion liter water conservation. I have noting the very nice points from respected chairman. Also, most welcome to him for always expect the enhanced financial performance to my company with good dividend, capital market appreciation, and present also in future with his leadership and with the most efficient and most experienced management team of Hindustan Unilever Limited with their good health, happiness and prosperity also, and with streamlined navigations apart from all turbulences. Also, thanks to Mr. Sanjeev Mehta as chaired as a chairman, and thanks for his enhanced contribution to my company. Also, thanks to company's management team for achieving double-digit growth, 50,336 crore revenue. Also, EPS 37.53, PAT 8,118 crores. Also, cash from operation 11,684 crores. Where financial year 22 impacted in second wave and slow economy, Also, my small view in respect to dividend, that would be more better for rupees 34. My previous speakers also mentioned about this. What previous year we also got rupees 40.50 per share and all includes special dividend. Also, financial year 22 higher PAT than previous financial year. We have three business divisions. One is home care, second is beauty and personal, and third is food and refreshment. My previous speaker also mentioned the market share and fruits and refreshment, and that is contributes 29% of the revenue. My view is maybe it hiked because food and replacement market very players are is ongoing. And nice, I also noticed in media report that there is a very demand in ice cream because many states are ongoing in heat waves, and ice cream demand is very much. So think about this, and distribution and strategies, business and supply chain and rural sector, because rural sectors has 70% population in India. And sir, plan any acquisition apart from GSK, if possible, throw some highlights. And sir, I have three more small points which I like to share. Acquisition of nutrition business from GSK is a good move. Why companies management think it is good acquisition? Where in 1990s, HUL acquired Modern Foods, Tomco, Tata Chemicals, Bartoli, Cod-Liver-Oil, but were sold on the ground that HUL focused on its core business. So why again this acquisition which is other than HUL core business? GSK has high overheads and efficiency comparison to HUL is less to workforce. Please throw some highlights how GSK will come at par to HUL. Also, but not in the annual report, it was heard that one of its manufacturing sites went under closure. Sir, why the present attrition rate in my company so high, near about 20% as present compared to past years? Even at present, lot of employees are in double hatting. Finally, government subsidies are moving away from states. Also positive, central government is considering production-linked incentives. So through some highlight, my company will remain in competitive. Nothing to say more. I expect enhanced financial year performance with this turbulence financial year 22-23 with the proper navigation of respected chairman and everybody good health and mind. Thanking you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Pathak. With that, we've come to the end of all the speakers who had registered. Now, as you all know, that your company believes that brands with purpose grow. And during the year, our purposeful brands have created some really impactful communication messages for our consumers. And I'd like you all to watch these advertisements from our brands. We shall reconvene the meeting after these short videos, maybe a break of 5 minutes, and then we will be back to for me to respond to the many questions that you've asked.
किसान को गिरगिट बोला रंग बदल ले टमाटर फटाफट लाल बना ले
बदलूंगा अगर कोई गिरगिट की कसम खाए देखा इसीलिए मुझे रंग बदलना नहीं आए।
ऐसी सच्चाई और कुदरती लाल टमाटरों से बनता है किसान टमेटो केचप।
ये सिर्फ हमारी नहीं, देश की करोड़ों लड़कियों की कहानी है।
मैं है किस रेडी। चलो भी चलो जल्दी करो। ऐ की दीदी साड़ी पहनाने की बात हुई थी ना, फिर वजन दिखाई दे रहा है।
अब इसमें भी दिखाई दे रहा है।
हुन तुसी जल्दी करो, लड़के वाले आ गए ने।
इससे उठ लो बेटा,
जल्दी आ जा।
महक आजा बेटा।
अस्सलाम वालेकुम। आजा नूर आजा। फोटो में तो रंग साफ लग रहा था ना। अब बेटा आप दोनों चाहो तो बाहर चाय पी लो। जानूर
लगाकर बात करना पड़ेगा आपकी राजेश्वरी को हमारे लड़के से।
नो बट जोक्स अपार्ट, अपने बाल स्ट्रेट करा लेना, भाई को नूडल्स नहीं पसंद।
ये दाग
कब तक चलेगी खूबसूरती की ये बदसूरत परख? आखिर कितनी खूबसूरती काफी है? डव, खामियां नहीं खूबियां देखिए।
माँ, मुझे कुछ ऐसा सिखा दो, जल्दी से डॉक्टर बना दो। तुम्हारे हाथ में पट्टी पहनाऊंगी, तुम्हारे गाल पे दवा लगाऊंगी। माँ, जल्दी से एक टीचर बना दो। पापा को समझाऊंगी, डायरी में लिख के उनके पेरेंट्स को बुलाऊंगी। जल्दी से एक पायलट बना दो, तो मैं ट्रेन में बैठाऊंगी, पापा से दूर उड़ा ले जाऊंगी।
अब राइट वाला लो।
हाँ।
अब लेफ्ट वाला।
ठीक है। माँ, जल्दी से स्ट्रॉन्ग बना दो, फिर मैं तुम्हें बचाऊंगी, तुम्हारे और पापा के बीच खड़ी हो जाऊंगी।
हर बेटी यही कहती है कि माँ तो चुपचाप क्यों सहती है। घरेलू हिंसा के खिलाफ आवाज उठाइए, खुद भी स्ट्रांग बनिए और बेटी को भी स्ट्रांग बनने का पाठ पढ़ाइए।
सॉरी सर।
टेनिस कोर्ट में क्रिकेट?
सर वो
लड़कियों का गेम टेनिस है, क्रिकेट नहीं।
गेम लड़के लड़कियों का नहीं, स्टैमिना का होता है।
चलो फिर तुम्हारा गेम देखते हैं।
Show you what I got, what I got. Tell the naysayers I'ma never ever stop. Never gonna stop. Show you what I got, what I got. Tell the naysayers I'ma never ever stop. I'ma push the tempo every day 'cause I'm a boss.
कल ग्राउंड में मिलते हैं क्रिकेट के।
Boost is the secret of our energy.
To the farmer, the chameleon said, "Add a little color so those tomatoes look red."
Sure, if there's somebody whose trust a chameleon has earned. See, that's why changing colors I've never learned.
It's the same honesty and naturally ripened tomatoes that go into the making of Kisan tomato ketchup.
भाभी, देखो आपके कचरे में क्या है। अपू, कचरे के डिब्बे में क्या कर रहा है? क्या कर रहा है बेटा अंदर?
सारा शहर जानना चाहता है कि आखिर ये बच्चा इस कचरे के डब्बे से क्यों नहीं निकलेगा।
अपू बेटा, अपनी नानी को तो बताएगा ना?
इन्हें कितनी बार बताया कि अगर गीला कचरा और सूखा कचरा एक साथ फेंकेंगे तो मेरा फ्यूचर भी तो कचरे में जाएगा।
अबे तेरा काम ग्राउंड मेंटेन करना है।
यहाँ गड्ढे पत्थर में खेलेगा, सीधे हॉस्पिटल जाएगा।
इंजरी के बाद शायद ही पिच पे जा पाएगा।
गेम छोटे या बड़े ग्राउंड का नहीं, स्टैमिना का होता है। Presenting to boost stamina stars.
वो जो तुम्हारा रास्ता रोक के खड़ा है, समझना वो कमजोर है।
तुम स्ट्रांग हो। वो जो कहेंगे सलवार कमीज से बाहर मत निकलो, घर की दहलीज से बाहर मत निकलो, समझना वो कमजोर है, तुम स्ट्रांग।
वो जो कहेंगे शर्माती क्यों नहीं, नजरें झुकाती क्यों नहीं, घुटने छुपाती क्यों नहीं, समझना वो कमजोर है, तुम स्ट्रांग हो।
जो कहेंगे पहले शादी कर लो फिर पढ़ लो, समझना वो कमजोर है।
जो कहेंगे एक लड़की की तरह बैठो, समझना वो कमजोर है।
जिसने मंदिर में घंटी बांधी थी पर भगवान ने बेटी नहीं मांगी थी, समझना वो कमजोर है। जो तुम्हें कमजोर कहता है, समझना वो
कमजोर है
और तुम
स्ट्रांग हो।
यस।
एक माँ ही बनाती है बेटी को जड़ से स्ट्रांग। क्लिनिक प्लस, मेरी बेटी स्ट्रांग।
இந்த மாதிரி ஹோட்டலுக்கு அமைச்சிருக்காரு உங்க ஃப்ரெண்டு. எல்லாமே பெரிய பெரிய இங்கிலீஷ்ல எழுதிருக்கு.
Ready to order?
Tea, 2 cup.
What kind of flavor would you like? Robust, mellow? வீட்ல எங்க அம்மாக்கு டீ போடுற மாதிரி உங்களுக்கும் போடட்டுமா?
அற்புதமா இருக்கிறதுக்கு உங்க பாசையில என்ன சொல்லுவீங்க?
Perfect.
Perfect. நிறம், சுவை, திடம். Broke on 3 roses.
दुनिया को तू छोड़ दे पीछे, हौसले के बांध ले फीते, मेहनत की सरजमीन पर हर सपना बो। चलो लेट्स ग्लो, ready steady go, चलो लेट्स ग्लो, ready steady go। लांघते हर कायदे को रास्ते पर आएंगे जो फांद के नए आसमां को अब खुलवा दो। चलो लेट्स ग्लो, रेडी स्टेडी ग्लो। रूप को संवारने की नई नई ये रीत है, धूप और माटी से ही निखरेगी ये जीत है। चलो लेट्स ग्लो, रेडी स्टेडी ग्लो। चलो लेट्स ग्लो, रेडी स्टेडी
क्या हुआ छोटी?
कुछ नहीं।
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the advertising that you saw, which we were playing for you at this moment. Before responding to the questions, I first wanted to say a very big thank you to you all. Thank you to you for your very thoughtful questions, your comments, your suggestions that you made. I've tried hard to meticulously record the questions that you've asked and keep track of them all, and I will respond to the many questions that you've raised. I apologize in advance if, because of the quality of the audio at a few times, I might not have got the exact gist of your question. If you feel at the end of this that some of this was not answered, it is not intentional. It is oversight or not having captured it. Feel free to send those questions in to some of our team, and we will get back to you at the end of that. Now, having listened to all the questions that people asked, in a way it was useful, and I do think that there were some themes that emerged. Themes that reflected common thoughts, common questions, common sentiment. And with your permission, and in the interest of time and everyone's other occupation and interest that they might have, I'm suggesting that I would club some common themes and respond to them in a comprehensive manner. The first sentiment that I want to first acknowledge is how many of you had good things to say about your company, its performance in difficult times, about the role that this management team has been playing, particularly the leadership shown by Mr. Mehta, the many awards that the company has won over the last year under his and the team's leadership. I cannot agree with you more. I've only joined the board more recently and taken over as the chair, and I do agree with the sentiments that all of you have expressed out there. I also heard wide appreciation for our investor relations team, the secretarial team, and the manner in which they've reached out to so many of you and supported them. I just once again, on behalf of the board, again want to thank them for the effort and the work which they've been putting in to get this sort of fulsome praise from everyone. Now, having captured many of the thoughts, I think there were a few themes. And if I was to put them together, the first theme that came across was this whole area of the macroeconomic context that we are facing. These are not easy times. There were questions in terms of what does this mean for us? What is our strategy? How will we navigate it? And what's the sort of outlook that we see? That was theme number one. There was a theme around inflation, pricing, bridge packs. There were questions around mergers, acquisition, bonuses, paybacks, etc. So I'll go one by one, address those themes, and then move forward to the individual questions. The first theme that I spoke of, which was around the macroeconomic context, strategy, outlook, was asked by several people. Mr. Jaideep Bakshi, Ms. Lekha Shah, Santosh Saraf, Alok Kumar Pal, Dinesh Kotecha, Ashit Kumar Pathak, and Ms. Prakashani Shenoy. All of you had this on your mind. And I have to say it's an absolutely relevant subject. It is true that we are going through probably the most difficult economic situation. Inflation is high. There are supply chain disruptions that are going on. And it is as a result of a combination of factors. It is the outcome of just coming out of the pandemic, which disrupted many supply chains. It is the outcome of the geopolitical tension that we are seeing and issues in many parts of the world. And therefore, in India, we are probably getting to a situation where we've now seen 14 consecutive months of double-digit wholesale price inflation. I don't know when we've last seen something like that. This has had an effect on our markets. FMCG markets, which have generally been strong for a long period of time, have started seeing the effect of this. And more recently, we've seen market growth rates moderate, and our volume growth rates have actually become negative in the short term. So we were on a good recovery path. Many people were complimenting India on how we were coming out of the COVID period, but it does mean that the immediate future is challenging, and it will require some astute handling and a balancing act to be able to make sure that growth does not stall and we are able to contain inflation. Now, while I've talked of the challenging times, I remain confident that as a country, we will be able to navigate through this crisis. It's not just my saying so. The World Bank believes that India will remain the fastest growing economies in the coming years. And therefore, that should give us look forward to it with optimism, even though the short term is very, very challenging and tough. For the FMCG industry as well, I will say that we have to navigate the short term, but I remain confident of the medium term to longer term future that this industry has. There are many reasons. Firstly, it starts from the fact that our per capita consumptions are very low at this moment. We have plenty of headroom for growth. And add to that the fact that we have such a large population, a young population, a growing middle class, and therefore rising affluence, the adoption of digital and technology. All of this suggests that we are likely to see growth rates in the FMCG sector for a period of time. Add to that the fact that this company, your company, has over a period of time developed a certain skill in driving penetration, driving market development, and it is at the core of its strategy. We see growth opportunities for your company, both in the core, given how low the penetration levels are. We see opportunities in new areas that are developing based on the market development competence that has been built. We see opportunities in premiumization as people have more money. We see opportunities coming through new channels which are developing, not least of which is the digital channels which are coming up. And I think your company has also been spending time repurposing itself, reimagining the future and being ready for it. And that's why the theme of what we are talking about is purpose-led and being future fit. So the combination of all of this gives me great hope and confidence for the future that we see both for India as well as for your company, even though the immediate future is likely to be challenging and requiring deft and astute management. So that really was the first question that many of you had spoken of and wanted an opinion and a view on. I think the second question that everyone's asked and is on everyone's mind is the effect of inflation, pricing, and the short-term challenges. And I just want to spend a little more time on the immediate short-term issues that we are facing. I spoke of the fact that we have seen 14 months of double-digit inflation in the recent of wholesale price indices. And that's because of the disruption in supply chains, the geopolitical issues that the COVID policy in China, which has also impacted supply chains, etc. The inflation, to give you a context, many of you asked as to why price increases were as high. In fact, the number of people who had this on their minds were several. I remember Mr. Bakshi, Mr. Savani, Mr. Singh, Aspi Besani, all of you had this on your minds. And I think several of you commented in terms of the extent of price increase that we are seeing even on our products. The reality is that when you take ingredients like palm oil, you take crude, you take the impacted derivative outcomes in terms of plastics and in terms of logistics, we've seen inflations which are in excess of 50%, 50. That's the extent of inflation that we've seen. And therefore, it is truly an unprecedented moment. As a company, we are determined to try and see how we can mitigate the impact of some of this to our consumers. And therefore, our first action in all of this is to drive savings hard. Your company does a great job at this. We drive continuous improvement and drive efficiencies. We get about 7% savings every single year. And we will continue to drive that hard. But the level of inflation is such that after that, it is inevitable that we will have to raise prices, and therefore they are going up. When that's required, we do it in as calibrated a fashion as is possible, in as thoughtful a manner that is possible, and that's what we will continue to do. There are price point packs that we have to be watchful, and we will follow the appropriate strategies, sometimes balancing, reducing volumes or fill levels, sometimes taking up prices. But I don't want to pretend it is not an easy moment for our people, and I feel for the common person in the country who has to deal with this hardship at this moment, and you can be certain that this company will do everything possible to contain it to the extent that we can. Right, moving on to the third set of questions, which was about our strategy towards growth, mergers, acquisitions, and a desire to find out what we are looking for. I think Shivam Bajaj spoke about it, Celestine Mascarenhas, Aloysius Mascarenhas, Dinesh Koteja. Many of you had this on your mind. And all I can say is our growth strategy involves both organic growth as well as inorganic growth. Both have a role to play, but by far the largest contribution to growth is coming from our organic business. There's plenty of headroom. While there's a lot of questions asked about acquisitions, the biggest growth will come from our organic growth opportunities from our core that we've got. That said, inorganic opportunities are important. We obviously cannot speak of what we are looking at, but there is an active funnel all the time. But suffice to say, we will continue to be exploring this. And when something reaches a stage when it is important to share with all of you, of course we will share it with you at that moment. There was a series of questions around the role of bonus. When will we give it, or whether it's buybacks, or whether it should be redeemable preference shares, and all of this stemming from suggestions and comments around how can we add value to all of you as shareholders and maximize your wealth. And all I can say is that the best way that your company can add to shareholder value and shareholder wealth and maximizing your returns is by driving profitable growth. When we drive profitable growth, all of these other things become possible. As a company, we have a point of view that we would like to maximize your returns first by driving growth, profitable growth, and then through a healthy dividend distribution policy that we've got. Every year in the recent past, we've been delivering a distribution payout ratio which has been in excess of 90%, and that in combination with the returns that you've been seeing on the share price, which is the capital appreciation, is actually the way you should start looking at this. And over a 10-year period, your company has delivered returns which are at a compounded rate of over 20%, well ahead of the Sensex and the FMCG index that some of you commented on. So that's really where our view is, and I'm sure you would appreciate the returns that this company has managed your company for you over this period of time. I was also delighted to see the interest that several of you had on this whole subject of the environment, particularly in the area of plastic and what we are doing in that space. I think again, Ms. Prakashini Shenoy, Jaideep Bakshi, Mr. Shah, Mr. Saraf, Mr. Pathak, several of you asked questions on this directly, and others alluded to it. So I do want to spend a little bit of time giving a larger perspective in this space. The reality is that plastic as a material is not a bad material. In fact, it is a very, very versatile material. It allows us to deliver our products in a very safe manner. It protects the quality. It allows us to get it to people. The overall greenhouse emissions in the end-to-end value chain of plastic is actually lower than many other materials that we talk about. The issue with plastic is not the plastic itself. It is good when it stays in the economy. The issue is when it gets into the rivers and the oceans and the drains and litters our streets. So our job is to try and see how do you make it into a circular economy, allowing it to be recycled and reused like other material, like glass, metal, and paper. Now we are committed. We are committed to making 100% of the plastic recyclable, reusable, or compostable by 2025. We're also committed to starting to use much more recycled plastic in our material. Close to 15% of it by 2025 will be that. We have a framework which we call less plastic, better plastic, or no plastic. And that framework helps us evaluate and take decisions as we move forward. We have been reducing the usage of our plastic. We will get to 15% recycled plastic by 2025. But in order to get to a truly circular economy in plastic, we also have to drive the segregation of plastic, make sure that more plastic comes back for recycling, and therefore we're working with partners like UNDP and Zintio to shape consumer behavior towards segregation So far, we've reached over 75,000 households and are driving this. You would be pleased to know that your company has got to plastic neutrality last year in 2021, which means we collect and dispose safely more plastic than we put out, 1.16 lakh tons. And we will continue to collaborate with different government bodies for best practices in terms of how do we deal with this. Finally, we are also working with partners to try and develop new technology that will ultimately allow all plastics to come into the circular economy. So I hope it gives you the confidence that enough is being done by your company to address an issue that is relevant to all of us and in society. Those were some of the big themes that I thought were coming across. Maybe I should then move on to some of the individual questions which several of you had asked. Bear with me as I run through my notes and go through some of the questions which have not been addressed. I think I'll start off with Mr. Bakshi from Calcutta. I think you asked many questions. Some of them I've addressed around input costs, around what's happening in the geopolitical situation. You were complimentary on how this business has performed. You had a question on tier 2, tier 3 towns and the opportunity there. And I would agree with that opportunity. I think there's plenty of penetration opportunity through market development. And I refer to the fact that this company has at its core a strategy of driving market development through data, through sampling at scale, through behavior change. So you should see us driving that. I think there were questions that you asked about a store. Can we have a personalized HUL store coming up in the future? And the answer to that is actually we do have a personalized HUL store. It's called UShop. It is our direct-to-consumer store, which was launched in 2021. It is now available in 27,000 PIN codes across the country. It is designed to make sure that we are able to offer the entire range of HUL products under one roof, and especially offering many of the premium offerings that we've got and make them available to people, because while the totality of HUL products are available almost across, or most of them in over 8 million stores in the country, some of the premium products are not, and if you wanted that, you could access it from here. Then if I were to move on to Ms. Shah. Ms. Shah had, again, she was complimentary. She complimented our investor relation teams overall. And I think most of her questions were addressed through the overall themes that I covered right at the beginning. There was a question around number of products that you wish to launch, which you had asked. But for obvious reasons, we can't provide all the details related to what's going to happen in the future. But suffice to say, we have a very, very active innovation program, driving agile innovation with speed, because speed is important for us to win. Let me move on to Mr. Shivam Bajaj and some of the questions that and comments that he had. It was really a comment around some of the excellent campaigns around KKT and Lifebuoy, say Haath Dhoya Kya, etc., and your request to rerun this. Thank you for your compliment and your suggestions. We will continue to look at these and similar propositions and see how we can continue driving them forward. You also had a suggestion around quality walls, which you like, the Trixie cheesecake. I have to say, you and I share a passion for ice cream, so I too would be delighted to see larger pack sizes available for us, so I take that on board. And about the quality of annual report pages, well, we'll record that. We have to make sure that it's good, but you yourself might, we have to get it to a relevant level, but I'm sure you won't want us to spend more money than is required in this space, because frugality is one of the virtues which has enabled this company to manage this difficult position as well as this company has. Let me move on to Ms. Prakashini Shenoy. And some of the questions that she had, I think, again, questions related to the launch of new products. You were quite specific. You wanted to know about home care products. Well, I can't talk about the number of new products to be launched, but you will be delighted to know that the home care business has been growing strongly at 19% with double-digit growth in both fabric care and household care. We have an excellent portfolio which straddles the pyramid. It is backed by high-quality science and technology, and there's lots of innovation which has just happened. The Surf Excel Smart Shorts, the Surf Excel Smart Spray, the Vimmatic dishwash, etc. So look at this space going forward. You will continue to see lots of things happening here. We then had Ms. Smita Shah from Mumbai with many things that you said were essentially very complimentary, and I thank you for that sentiment. We endeavor to have our shareholders and our consumers pleased with us, and it's nice to know that several of you are. Mr. Bharat Shah, again, you too were complimentary. Your questions around dividends and bonus that you spoke of have been addressed right at the beginning. Move on to the next set of Mr. Kaushik Shahukar. I think I have to say, Mr. Shahukar, I'm sorry to hear of your condition, but I'm also hugely inspired. I'm inspired to hear your story, your determination, your becoming a CA and not letting your condition come on your way. So it's inspiring for me, and I'm sure many others who heard you would feel just as inspired. I heard you mention that you have a request to make. I would suggest that you write to us, and I'm sure our team members will look at what might be possible. I think you also had a comment around the metaverse and how it's unfolding. And again, I agree with you. The metaverse will have a very significant impact. But again, you would be pleased to know that your company has been thinking about the impact of technology and the relentless progress and its implications 6 or 7 years ago as a part of the Reimagine HUL program, and is fundamentally transforming this company to be tech first and data led, and that will throw up many opportunities in the metaverse. And when that comes up, we will keep you posted. This company loves and is at the forefront of experimenting and trying out new models, and you will see this company do so even with respect to the metaverse. If we come to the comment on sample to shareholders, I have to say I missed this out. It was again a theme coming across from many people. Could we give coupons? Could we give samples, etc.? Good for advertising. Yes, we do give samples, by the way. We give samples to a large number of our consumers. Several of you are our consumers, and therefore would benefit from a very large, the largest sampling program in the country that we run every year to give people the opportunity to experience some of our new offerings. But as far as shareholders are concerned, it is not the policy of our company to issue gift coupons or free samples. But more than not just being a company policy, it's also not permitted as per the Secretarial Standard 2 as applicable under the Companies Act 2013. The company feels it's best that shareholders get returns on their investment in terms of dividends and not free samples. And there, I think you will all agree that your company has been doing a good job. Let's move on to Mr. Suresh Anand Khanolkar. Again, you had many suggestions and comments that you made. Many of them were very specific suggestions, and I think your interest and the questions that you asked, the comments that you made, clearly indicates your financial knowledge and your acumen. We've noted your comments and suggestions, and we will keep that in mind and look into those. Yeah? Some of those were very specific, which I will respond to. I think you made a comment around trade payable due to creditors. Why should we not utilize cash discounts where possible? All I can assure you is that the company has a strong procurement function that negotiates very well with our suppliers and partners, that works through the balance between cash discounts and credit, etc., and gets for your company the best deals which are possible. Yeah? I think I've commented on dividend in general. I think there was a response around our dividend being good but somewhat less than the previous year. But I think it isn't, as you discovered, you commented that once you keep the special dividend out, which was paid out last year, our dividend is actually 10% higher than the dividend which was paid out last year. Foreign exchange, as a comment that you had made, that our foreign exchange earned is about half the foreign exchange, or actually that we import more than we export and therefore consume more foreign exchange. It is true. We should be looking at, and I agree with your suggestion, to try and minimize the gap as possible. And to that extent, your company works hard on driving import substitution and driving localization wherever it's feasible. But you would also understand that we are dependent on some ingredients. I'll give just palm oil as one example, where the national capacity of palm oil, the production which is there, is well short of our demand. Thankfully, I think there is government intervention to increase palm oil capacity in the country. And if that were to happen over the next 5-10 years, it will go a long way to reducing our dependence. But it is a good point, and we will explore opportunities in this space. Mr. Ashish Shankar Bansal, you had a few questions and comments that you had made. A large part of that, I think, have got addressed. You talk about buyback of shares, etc. I think we'll keep exploring those. We keep exploring all options to utilize our surplus cash, but there was nothing really new that beyond the general comments that I've made. I think I've covered your thoughts. Moving on to Mr. Santosh Kumar Saraf. I think, Mr. Saraf, I think you made suggestions that while a virtual meeting or physical meetings are good, even when we get back to physical meetings, we should continue running virtual meetings because it allows people from elsewhere. We will keep that suggestion in mind. But, I think you also made a comment around the number of excise and state excise appeals and cases which have been pending, and what can we do to settle these quickly. We do have, you're right, unsettled tax disputes, but they are fully disclosed in our annual report and are fully provided for in our books of accounts. We believe that these cases are strong on merits, and we are taking steps to settle them. Just last year, we closed over 70 cases related to excise, central excise and service tax under the special Sabka Vikas Vishwas scheme which was around. There were comments around water and what we are doing. Water is a key theme. I had spoken about plastic, but water is a big focus area. We have halved our water used across our manufacturing locations compared to our 2008 baseline. We have created a water potential equal to 1.9 trillion liters. That is, like I've said in my speech, almost equal to a year's drinking water for the entire population of the country. What else? Have I left something out from your questions that you had asked? You asked about our market shares by categories. We don't talk about our market shares by brand and category. We don't disclose that for obvious reason. But you'd be pleased to know that your company is a leader in 80% of its turnover, and we are growing market share in excess of 75% of our turnover. So that should give you a lot of confidence. That's it. If we move on to Mr. Manoj Kumar Gupta, you had a question around first, how do we respond to competitors like Patanjali or Ruchi Soya, etc. Firstly, I have to say, we respect fair competition, healthy competition. It's good for everyone. It's good for the consumer. It's good for the company. And it's clearly not our policy to comment about any particular competitor. We respect them, but we remain focused on our consumers and the trends and the changes taking place, and seeing how we can address our consumer needs better than others. There was a question around, I think you had a question around the outlook for the retail business. The reality is we are not in the retail business. We are in the consumer goods business, FMCG business, and I did give you my view on how the FMCG business is poised. I think you made a comment on the ITC stores would we have an HUL store? You heard us say we do have an HUL store. It is the U-shop that we've got, and we will continue to try and see how we can raise or expand it, improve the service levels, including delivery options which are there. And I think comments around competition in ice cream, Amul and Vadilal, I think you'd again be pleased to know that the ice cream category has been doing well post the pandemic, or we've already got, even pandemic isn't over by the way, but we've already got to sales which are ahead of our pre-pandemic levels, and that's driven by an expansion of distribution in smaller towns. It's through the strengthening of the cold chain infrastructure that we've got, and of course based on new innovative offerings and new models like Ice Cream Now, which allow people to consume ice cream at home. So all in all, a great business. Our Lakme business again is also doing well. You asked about it, and is the most followed brand on Instagram, beauty brand on Instagram. 30% of its business comes from online setup and is leading our digital first approach in this company. Do we have plans to launch food products like Bingo, Uncle Chips, etc.? Again, I won't talk about specific things. All I can say is we have a very wide range of products, a very resilient portfolio of over 50 brands, purposeful brands across 15 categories, and we will continue to assess where we should play, where we believe we have a reason to succeed long term, what we call a right to win. And when we see that, we will enter those spaces, but none of that should make you believe that there are no growth opportunities. There's plenty of growth opportunities in the spaces that we already play. Let me move on to the next questions from Mr. Sharat Kumar Jivraj Shah, where there were several questions Mr. Shah asked. I think some of them, some of those questions were about should we have different products for different regions and different income strata. I think you would be pleased to know that your company does have that. In fact, it is at the heart of this company's strategy. We call it in two phases. We first talk about straddling the pyramid, which means having products to address consumers right at the top end of the income strata, but also people at the bottom of the pyramid. But we also have a strategy called WIMI, which is winning in many Indias, wherein we differentiate our offerings based on the different needs, taste, expectations of consumers across different parts of the country. Yeah? On distribution, you commented on small packs, large packs. I have to say, we are a widely distributed company. We are the envy of every other company in this setup. We directly reach over 2 million outlets, and our products are in over 8 million outlets. And yet, what you say tells us that we should not rest on our laurels. There are opportunities for getting better at distribution, and we will look at all the suggestions that you've made. About future leaders, again, this is building future leaders. I cannot agree more. It is, as long as we keep doing this, this company will continue to succeed in the future. It is an area of strength, but again, in this area, we will not rest on our laurels and continue focusing on creating leaders for tomorrow. Okay? That's moving on to Mr. Yusuf Rangwala. You had Mr. Rangwala, the line wasn't clear. I got a few questions, so if I missed something out, please send your question back. I think I heard you comment about which new products are we launching, that you liked Indulekha, which was very effective. I wish we had acquired Indulekha a few years before I lost all my hair. It might have helped me. But yes, it's a great product. Everyone who's used it raves about it. And you can well imagine why we cannot disclose what else we are going to do in terms of new products. Mr. Manish Shah, sorry, there was another question about products being too expensive. I did explain to you the levels of inflation that we've got. Inflation in many commodities in excess of 50%, 50, and how we look at savings before the inevitable price increase that we are required to pass. But we keep benchmarking ourselves and making sure that despite all of this, we will protect our consumer franchise and our business model so that when this period passes, or even during this period, we continue to be competitive, grow market share, because it's a measure of our relevance to society and to the consumers that we serve. Yeah. Mr. Manish Shah, thank you for your compliments. I have to say I loved your lovely composition. I wish I could respond to you in similar vein with every sentence of mine rhyming with, but I have to say you were full of praise. That's the only way I can introduce the term full, with which you ended every word of yours, every sentence of yours. But thank you. And I'm sure this company will get to bigger heights with the good wishes of people like you. Mr. Harshad Savani, again, you had several questions that you had. I think you asked a question around what's happened when we changed our brand name from Fair and Lovely to Glow and Lovely. We did change the brand name 2 years ago in June of 2020, and we changed as the times change, the consumers change, as the context change, brands need to keep remaining relevant to the society and the times that we are in. The change in the brand name to Glow was appropriate because as a business and a skincare category, we are very keen to make sure that that we have a very holistic approach to beauty, that beauty that cares for people, and that we are inclusive and diverse, and that we are committed to celebrating all skin tones. That's where we changed the brand name. And the word glow in many ways more accurately describes what the product actually delivers. It delivers much more than fairness. It delivers smooth skin, even skin, clear skin tone, and therefore a more appropriate nomenclature for this brand. The overall name change, I have to say, has gone well. We are satisfied with how the name change has gone and how it has been accepted. But yes, in the pandemic, it's a discretionary category. Mobility was affected. People weren't stepping out, and therefore business has got impacted. As we come out of it, we remain optimistic, and we do believe it will continue to contribute to our business as we move forward. I think you had a question around I think, the rupee, the foreign exchange, etc. I think, again, it is true that in recent months the rupee has depreciated a bit, but you would again be happy to know that this company understands this, has a strong team which knows how to manage it. We try and minimize the impact of our dependence on foreign exchange through import substitution and localization wherever it's possible. But we also have hedging strategies which within the policy that we've got, which will limit the impact that we've got for our business. Right. If I were to move forward, I think there were questions from, there was a question which came from Mr. Aspi Besania. I think Mr. Besania's question had a few questions. One of them was around why the HUL share price is lagging the BSC and NSE movement. Mr. Besania, I hope, like most of our shareholders, you're a long-term shareholders. This company prides itself on having very long-term shareholders with people over multiple generations actually retaining our shares. And if you are, you would have seen the benefits and the value that this company has delivered over a period of time. This company believes in doing the right thing for our consumers, focusing on the things that really matter. And as we do so, we have seen over a period of time that our share price performs well. Over a 10-year period, we have grown much faster than the BSE and the FMCG index that you spoke of. In short periods of time, of course, there will be an impact on the share price from time to time. These are extraordinary times that we are living in. You heard about the inflationary context. That does have an impact. There's a risk in terms of short-term earnings, and the market tends to react to all of this. But we don't focus on the short term, and I'd hope that you wouldn't want to focus on the short term and have confidence in your company and the management team which runs this to deliver returns over the long term. I think there were some questions that you had around unclaimed dividend and what we could do. I think, yes, I thank you for your suggestions. A good suggestion. There were some suggestions around physical shares and what we can do around selective buyback. I don't know whether that's possible or not, but we will certainly reflect on your suggestions that you've made at this stage. Let me move on to the next shareholder, Mr. Alok Kumar Pal. And the questions that you had, I think you asked whether the company and the way in which it manages its capital is efficient. I do think we are very efficient. Our return on capital employed is 108%, and you would agree that's a wonderful return on capital, as indeed you would agree within that the fact that we operate at negative working capital, we have an asset-light model, and the combination of all, and we make healthy margins. So when you have these three things together, you will have a great return on capital employed. I've covered several of your comments and questions earlier. You talked about human capital and taking them higher. I agree with you. And the next phase in organizational development, again, next phase is what the company is working on. Purpose-led and future fit is the headline thought, but reimagining HUL to build sustainable capabilities and will help us continue this wonderful journey that we've been on. Moving on to, there are, I think, some other questions that you had. I think questions around the cost audit fees, secretarial audit fees. I can quickly tell you, cost audit fee is 13.5 lakhs, secretarial audit fee is 2.2 lakhs, 23 lakhs related to AGM fees, and those were some of the other questions which you had. Moving on to this is Celestine Mascarenas. Again, market share by product. I think I've addressed this question before, and therefore, like I said, you should feel satisfied in terms of where this company is, in terms of leadership position, and continues to grow share. On ESG rating, we do have an ESG rating. It is the core of what we do. We are one of the top-rated companies in India by Dow Jones Sustainability Index with a score of 68. Mr. Mascarenas, some of your questions were similar, but you had another question about new products launched this year. Without going through the details, I would really say that this company grew its turnover by 5,000 crores, and 900 crores of its turnover came from new brands which were launched. It gives you a sense of the intensity of new brands that we've been launching this year, and we will continue that as we move forward. I think there was a question around hedging Forex. Is it beneficial? We have a hedging policy, like I mentioned earlier, and we have a team of internal experts who understand this space, certainly far better than I do, and I trust that they do a good job, and you would be happy to see how we managed this in the past. Let's move on to to the next shareholder, Mr. Dinesh Kumar Amrutlal Koteja. I don't think Mr. Koteja was. Just let me. Yeah. We had Mr. Ashit Kumar Pathak. You had a set of questions. I think one of them was around. One of those questions that you had was around Horlicks acquisition. We talk about focusing on the core. Why have we got Horlicks? Is it good for us? The truth is our strategy has both the core and acquisitions. I think Horlicks has been an absolutely wonderful acquisition for us. It has made us amongst the largest foods and refreshment companies in the country. It has also provided us new capabilities. It has given us access to the pharma channel, which they had expertise and presence in. It has given us the capability on medical retailing, which can help other parts of the business. So it's been good for us. You had questions around attrition rate. Is it too high? I think all I would say is there are periods of our attrition rate, your company's attrition rate continues to be lower than the attrition rate that we see in the industry. And that is because we happen to be the employer of choice. We have continued to be the employer of choice for new people coming in for the last 12 years across industries. We have the reputation not just of attracting people, but growing people. We are known as the leadership factory. And to that extent, we have more people staying with us for longer periods of time than we see elsewhere. Yes, we lose some people. And in some ways, we are pleased at one level that our people get exceptional offers from other organizations. And to that extent, it is a validation of the high quality people development effort which goes on. But you should feel confident that we have enough of a pipeline of high quality leaders. I spoke about the GSK acquisition and why it's good for us. If we move on to the next question, please. What else was there? 3 divisions and focusing on F&R. You spoke of it. Yes, we were smaller in F&R, but the Horlicks acquisition has changed all of that. I think all our 3 divisions are about similar size, and our F&R business is amongst the largest business that largest foods business in the country. So you should feel good about it. Right. Let me move on to the next shareholder, Mr. Manjeet Singh. Just give me a second. Let me see, Mr. Singh, the questions that you had. I think, Mr. Singh, I thought I heard you say, are we focusing only on some categories and are we leaving some other categories to some of our competitors? We have no desire. Like I explained earlier, we assess the opportunities that exist. We assess whether we have a right to win in those categories and we can sustainably succeed there. When the answer is yes, we do enter it. If the answer is no, we don't, because we know that we have plenty of growth opportunities in our existing core and in areas where we have a genuine source of competitive advantage. That's where we should focus. That's where the returns on the investment that we make will be the best. And so that's what I would say. I think you spoke about toothpaste and oral and color cosmetics, etc. I think on oral, it is important for us. We have 2 brands. The brand strength is increasing. And close up, we are growing market share, and we will continue to make sure that we strengthen this portfolio. We are a number 2 player here, and we'd like to keep strengthening our position here. What else? I think there were some other questions that you had. So on some of our subsidiaries, I think you had some specific comments on certain pages of our annual report. If they are very specific, do write to us and we will respond to some of the comments that you made out there. Lakme's profitability and portfolio which you've got, we have a large portfolio of more than 500 SKUs, and we need that large portfolio because in color cosmetics, we do need a very, very wide range. If you talk to any women, they want a specific shade, they want a certain choice, they want to match it. And I think this brand has done an exceptional job in providing digitech that will allow people to make the right choice as to what shade and what options work for them. So yes, we need it, but the question is not 500 SKUs. The question is, how well is this business doing? It's doing very well. It's now over 1,000 crores. It is, like I said, the most followed brand on Instagram, and I see a very exciting future for Lakme going ahead. We will take your suggestions on leveraging festivals for promoting some of our offerings. Again, you've made some suggestions on whether people should be there between company and the subsidiaries. We do make sure that senior management personnel are part of the board of directors of its subsidiaries to ensure that the operations of the company are managed appropriately. And that's, I think, helpful. It also helps us make sure that we get some synergies by having some common directors, but we also focus on the governance of these groups to make sure that we don't lose sight on that. Let's move on. Mr. Dinesh Gopaldas Bhatia. Let's see what questions you had, Mr. Bhatia, which I might not have addressed. You did talk about that you had sent an email which you haven't responded, you haven't received. Please send it in again. We will look into it and make sure that you do get a response. You talked about agriculture and do we have our own agricultural land? No, we don't. As a company, we are not allowed to own agricultural land that we buy from contract farmers or from other suppliers. I think there were other questions that you had on our intangible assets, that it was 431 crores in 1920, now it's 45,000 crores, and how is it explained? I think it's a good question, but it's simply explained through the intangibles and the goodwill and the brand rights that we got with the GSK acquisition of Horlicks. Okay? We've increased our PPE to 305 crores. Again, this is the investment to support our growth and innovation agenda and the supply chain strategy around the network redesign that we've got. Around assets held for sale that you've talked about on land and on buildings. I think buildings or properties which are not in use, for business purpose, we find a way to divest them so that we can then utilize that cash for more productive purposes. For obvious reasons, we don't disclose the full list of such assets. Yeah? Our foreign exchange earnings and outflows are spelt out on page 50 of the annual report, if you'd like to have a look at that. Yeah? I've responded to this. Next question. What else have I left out? That's it. Mr. Mahesh Kumar Bubna, you had several questions. You commented about certain brands, Mr. Bubna. All I can say is you talked about Rexona. I would say we do have Rexona. It is a part of our portfolio. You spoke of many brands that you think about in a very nostalgic manner, and advertising, by the way, Lalita ji, etc. I have to say I felt nostalgic as well listening to you. The only area where I say is maybe we are so back in time. Some of the brands that you referred to are unfortunately not a part of our portfolio, and it tells me one thing, that there are strong brands that some of the other companies have, and we'd like to get to a stage where all top-of-mind brands that our shareholders have happen to be our brands. We're not quite there, but we'll try and keep getting there. There were questions around Liquid Surf Excel. Have we withdrawn it? We absolutely haven't. It should be more easily available, and another thing for us to focus on. Ambition of 1 lakh crores that you talked of, cannot disagree at all. I think we absolutely agree on having that ambition. And products which have worked in COVID, and why haven't we got that? We actually do have that. I think our oldest brand, Lifebuoy, is probably the most effective brand for the common man. It's affordable, everyone can use it. And whether it's the sanitizer or the soap, is when used well, has the single biggest impact in terms of preventing the spread of this disease, or indeed domics in terms of sanitation that we've got. And you talked of pack sizes and larger packs, etc. Of course, we should have that. You talked about our capital employed ratio. I just explained that our return on capital employed is actually quite high. Is very high, 108, and is amongst the best in class. On assets, fixed assets, or fixed liabilities, current liabilities, I think in Schedule 3, Division 2, our financial statements have been prepared in accordance with Schedule 3, Division 2 of the Companies Act 2013, and therefore we are fully compliant with what is required. Let's move on. Next question that you had. You talked about, can we explore amalgamation of subsidiaries to save expenses? You talked about companies' cash flow from operating activities the same as last year. The reality is we have a strong cash flow generation through working capital discipline. This year we have unprecedented levels of inflation, like I've talked about before, and this does mean that the value of our inventories is much higher than it would be with a 50% increase in many of the material that we've got. So I hope it gives a sense of, gives you a sense of the questions that you'd asked. There was Ms. Patel. You had a few questions as well. You were happy with our results. There were questions around other expenses, miscellaneous expenses, travel expenses to be curtailed. Our travel expenses, firstly, I agree with the sentiment. We should be cost conscious, and we will continue to find opportunities to be efficient. Yeah? We have many products and yet not all are available. Well, I guess this is a theme. I explained that we are the most widely distributed, but in many of our stores, there's limited space. A store cannot keep all our products. So we try and use data to determine what's the optimal range of SKUs which each store must keep, so that we are not thinking of our interest alone, but also thinking of the space and the return and the rotation that our retailers get, and they like us for that, and that's how we help our business. That said, if there are opportunities, we will keep looking at those on an ongoing basis. Right. Other teams to be accessible to our shareholders. Yes, I would agree, but with the caution, you yourself would agree that we want our brand teams to be focused on addressing consumers and spending their time there, because that's how we will delight our consumers, and that's why we have our investor relations team, which engages with all of you. And I'm so pleased to hear that all of you are delighted with the manner in which our investor relations team is engaging with each one of you. Let's see, is there anything that's left? Any questions? I think the last shareholder, I think Ms. Swagata Mondal. There were no questions from Ms. Swagata Mondal. And is there anything that I've left out? Let me take one last look. No, it doesn't look like. All I want to say at this stage to each one of you is I have tried to make sure that I've covered most of the questions that you've asked. If while doing so I've missed something out, I apologize. It hasn't been intentional. And if you come across and you feel it was an important question, feel free to write to us. With that, I now hand over the e-voting process to the scrutinizer. The e-voting facility will be open at the NSDL e-voting website for the next 30 minutes to enable shareholders to cast their votes. The combined results of the remote e-voting and the e-voting during the meeting will be announced and made available on the website of the company, on the website of NSDL, and also on the website of the stock exchanges. I once again thank all the shareholders for their cooperation in the smooth conduct of this meeting through audio-visual means. I thank all my co-directors, members of the management committee team who've joined this meeting. And with that, let me announce that this meeting would stand concluded at the end of 30 minutes from now. Thank you.